Happy to be here, friends, and this is the second semifinal King of the Desert 5. Thank you, everyone, for watching, having interest, and being excited, I hope, anyways, for this game. Now, the conversation about this particular semifinal is interesting because Viper is known for having quite a slow start, okay? So he has gone for the Huns to start it off, a civ I'm in love with, I'm infatuated with, and I have many wonderful dreams about. But it's just not a civilization that we've seen dominate too much in King of the Desert. And I think Viper's probably done this because he is known for having a slower start. If Viper's ever going to lose a game, it's normally going to be game number 1. MBL goes for one of his very first civ picks, all right? So he's just like, I want that win. If Viper starts slow, I'm going to take full advantage of this. And he comes forward now with that Eagle for the lane. So will he find that elephant from Viper? Will he be able to steal it? Viper, moving around, knows his elephant is here. And I said, if I'm MBL, I might hesitate to lane early because Viper's going to expect it then. And let's see what happens. Viper just now noticed it. Now, this is MBL we're talking about. He had what many people feel like is the best lane ever in his series against Sato. I will have that in a highlight form. Combined with an old lane from MBL at some point as well. Now, my opinion is, you gotta... What? Oh my god. It's the vision from the lion! That will never go back because of the lion. Look, that would normally go back. Okay, there's a pause now, and they're gonna discuss things. But it's so funny because in the lane where MBL... did it against Sato, there was a pause, and I spent time talking about the lion situation, and I went back and watched it, and I was like, man, I really shouldn't have talked about that. I could have talked about other things, but it's relevant. There's ways to script so the lions don't have Omega Vision, and I don't believe they've used that here. And so basically what this means is I think if I'm right, the eagle could go all the way to here, and the elephant would still be chasing, even if it were this far away, just because of the Gaia vision. Now, I don't know why we have a pause. It could be a bugged map. The admins could have messaged them to say, hey, like, you need to look into this. Do you want to restart because of this reason? But I'm just not seeing it. And I think what Viper saw... was he saw the distance of the elephant was far enough away where the elephant would normally go back. Like right there, it felt like that would have normally gone back if not for that lion. I got to speed up. If they restart, I don't want to miss it. I have no clue why they paused. They could have paused because one of them had really bad Chinese food last night and needs to run to the bathroom. I don't know. So anyways, feels a little weird to pause right now. I get it, but... And this does give me time to talk about some other things, okay? So Viper is 20 wins and 5 losses against MBL in tournament history. That is in sets. He's like 77 and 22 or something in terms of game wins. So he is the heavy favorite. And I think MBL has always underperformed, or he always performs worse when there's expectations on himself. Him coming in here, knowing how bad his runs typically are against Viper, could actually help him here. He already has probably surpassed his own expectations, or has at least met his expectations to get top 4. So, we'll see. Is it normal that lions have this much vision? Yes, it is. There also used to be a thing where relics would have more vision. And that has been customized within DE. Yes. Okay, here we go. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. MBL knows the lion thing too, by the way. He's well aware of that. Because I remember when we saw an example of it and videos were made on it and things like that. Okay, so there's just a pause. And now, again, I'm going to stay on Gaia Vision to give you an idea. And now if MBL goes too far, the elephant will go back. Birds also give Gaia Vision, by the way. So MBL, extremely fortunate with the lion position, and he's never going to give this one up. Look, like, how long is Viper going to sit here? Is he going to kill the elephant? It's your own elephant, bro. No, he gives up. Amazing lane from MBL. It could have been seen as a risk by many because Viper was expecting it. But in the end, Viper's just going to try and steal this elephant now. And MBL is the master board laner. Someone says Viper only has 2 hunt. That's why the restart. I would have to look back at the start for that to confirm that. You would think that if they gave Viper an option to restart it in that moment, if there was a discussion, he would have probably said yes. Viper maybe could have tried attacking the Eagle, and he didn't do that. And now MBL is going to try and stop Viper from taking his own elephant. And this elephant's not going to get to Viper's base anytime soon, is it? Yep, okay, blocking. Again, Gaia Vision, just to give you an idea of where Viper needs to sit. MBL blocking. Viper's food situation is fine right now. Viper moving. MBL blocking. Viper stopping. Viper moving. MBL blocking. Viper moving. MBL chasing. MBL blocking. Viper stopping. Viper moving. MBL blocking. Viper stopping. Elephant chasing. Viper's going to get the boar. Wow. So, lame into lame here. Again, Huns versus Aztecs. A lot has gone down here, folks. But I guess it's all fair at the end of the day. Did Viper possibly push in one of these? I think it's very possible. I almost want to check. Oh, no. You're right. He does have one less there. Okay. We are back at live time now. That's a good pickup from chat. So Viper has been lamed by the map generation. He's going to click up here, and most likely he's going to go for something that incorporates an early barracks. Because he's got the wood for it, but maybe not. I could be wrong on that. MBL has an amazing base, actually. He's got great wood lines, a back gold. You can very clearly see where he can wall, and man, does he love to wall. I think this favors the Aztecs, this whole lame situation, as we have it paused now. And I wonder now if they're, like, pausing because of the deer situation that we realized. I don't know, but live games, apologies for the pause, trying to keep things interesting. Yeah, I think the fact that you can heal up your Eagle within your TC is quite nice here for the Aztecs off a lame situation. And I also think the starting scout for a non-Mesosiv typically gets a lot more value with the extra speed and attack. So the fact that this is weaker right now, I think is good for MBL. So let me continue my thoughts. So MBL, the underdog, I think this should take pressure off of him, not put it on him. He could still be very happy with how this plays out. I'm curious today to see what Viper we see. I felt like on some level, maybe it was bad for Viper that he was up against Vivi in the quarters. Okay, MBL says, hotkeys, Mr. Mange, K, Skolta, Gather Point, Pal, Elefanten, Naraglama, Mendavaborte. I don't know if you guys could translate Norwegian, but whatever that means is probably like my Gather Point hotkey didn't work when I brought in the elephant. Sorry. This is a Norwegian showdown here. They're not being very mindful of the audience, though, are they? Okay, so scouts for Viper, but to complete my thought, Viper needs to have a better level here today if he wants the same result as he got versus Vivi. Obviously, he swept Vivi, but even still, I definitely felt like Snake had a higher level he could achieve. Okay, so walls for MBL. Shocker. But you absolutely should do this as the Aztecs against the Huns, because Huns are going to be going for scouts. That's a good move. And Viper changes his plan, actually, and he looks like he's going to open archers. Not knowing that Viper is walling up, or MBL is walling up, rather. But MBL walled a lot versus Toe. MBL has always walled a lot, and it feels like everybody else gets punished for the walls, but MBL always seems to somehow make it work for him. They're talking smack about UT90? Yeah, I'm sure they are. There's the range for Viper. Perfect timing on that. Whereas for MBL, I mean, he hasn't even completed his barracks yet. He is in no rush. He's going to make a spearman. Vipers might even run in here to see what MBL's up to. And he sees the eagle. He's going to attack that eagle. But yeah, MBL's, for the most part, just going to be completely walled here. He was saying that he was fixing his hotkeys while stealing an elephant because it's so easy. Yeah, maybe. So, It's been a while since I've seen this matchup, but I could tell you how games went in the past when I saw this matchup. And it used to be scouts into skirms for Huns, and then eagles come out from the Aztecs. Viper right now is looking to see what MBL has in here and where resources are, which I think will be worth it for him. Though his scout is now pretty weak because it got hit from the spearman. So Viper knows the range is late. He just doesn't know where the resources are, and there he goes. But he's not going scouts and skirms. He's going archers. Now, Aztecs have good skirms. Aztecs have good eagles. But the skirms cost a lot of food, and Aztecs normally have an eco that is based heavily around gold. And so it's normally archer eagle. Now, when you're thinking of what unit to go for with Huns, regardless of what you're up against, you're normally thinking, I want to go for cav archers because they're cheap and mobile, which is what Huns are good at. Or knights, because my stable produces faster. And again, mobility, right? However, if you go for the knights, the pikemen come out from the Aztecs, and then the monks come out to convert them. So I actually think your best long-term unit as the Huns, even though you're up against Aztecs with good skirms and good eagles, is actually to go, as the scout goes down, into cav archers. And I remember games with Doubt, where he'd go like 4 range cav archers. And yeah, eagles have 5 pierce armor, but cav archers have decent attack. And they have 1 more attack than a crossbow would, for example. Ends up being 6+2, I believe. So you're doing 3 damage a hit. And you have the mobility, which the eagles could normally use against crossbowmen, right? And not as much of a weakness if you get into CA. Man, MBL does some crazy things here, man. He did the same thing versus Sito. So he walls, and he doesn't have the archer timing the enemy does. And it just makes the enemy think, oh, MBL's not going army. What a defensive guy. And then all of a sudden, he goes from 1 range to 2 range, and he's got more army than you. Viper is not expecting this. This is the last thing Viper expected based on MBL's opening. Fortunately for Viper, he didn't lose more. But really just unorthodox play from MBL. I guess farms are really late, too. His castle time in one of those games against Sito was like 23.5 minutes. But then Sito had no army when he made it to the next stage. And okay, we've got another pause. Hopefully it's not another hotkey issue. King of the Desert has been played on, I think, 3 different patches because of game updates. And they always, you have to revert patches to go back to what is essentially the same patch. But when they come out with a new update or a hot fix, then what is the old patch becomes a new patch. It's a whole thing. And that has affected hotkeys. So I'm really hoping that's not a situation here, especially in a semifinal. You don't want the players to have to worry about that. Viper's really close to clicking up, which is impressive. And he's also just, for the most part, played fairly open here. He's going to make enough army just to trade against this, it seems, and then click up to Castle Age. Okay, the translation is MBL saying hotkeys, lost a lot of them, wanted to use gather point on elephant when I was laming, but that hotkey was gone. Okay, so that means MBL just ran into a hotkey issue. And I'm going to guess when we come out of this pause, he's going to try and make an eagle. I'm trying to think of what unit that he's not already made has a hotkey issue right now. He is housed at the moment. Really hard to have a good flow to the game with all these pauses. It's unfortunate. And hard to have a good flow to the casting as well. Here you have Viper. He's going to pick off that archer. Very well played. It does lose his own archer in the process, but again, Viper close to clicking up. There's the archers going for the spear. Spearman's gone. Now the skirms will need to run away as well. So MBL kind of falling back with his tail between his legs here. Feeling like it was maybe a mistake to move forward. But he's got a lot more army moving forward now. And it is still Viper cutting it close here. Archers for both. MBL microing very well uphill, though. And Viper also losing some HP on his scout. He does not have a lot of army now. There is potential for MBL here to overwhelm the Viper before Viper makes it to Castle Age. Viper's got 4 archers and a scout on 9 HP. Dang. And look how little resources he has. It's crazy. No one else plays like this. I think, though, there's a theme, and Viper could possibly pick up on that over time. There's a distinct theme based on what we saw in his series versus Toe. And players should realize to just not overextend your armies against MBL, and still don't hesitate to make a lot of army. If you hesitate to make a lot of army, MBL is going to end up in your base like this, and Viper thought he could just freely open up to the castle age with very little army, and he's going to drop a tower now. MBL's got 10 archers, 1 spearman, 1 eagle, 4 skirmishers, and he's going to continue to try and damage MBL as he now sells all of his stone, buys some food, and he will click up to castle age here in a moment. I think it's Cav Archers for Viper, though. I think that food is used to get the upgrades. And see if he can get the mass before MBL does. Actually, it's not just the mass for him. He actually needs to have decent trades against MBL's archers, too. Ideally for Viper, he'll kill this, so this can't be upgraded, because that could be a problem for Cav Archers, that group. The Viper won't have a town center now. In most circumstances, that is a sign that you're not going to have as good economy as your opponent, because you won't be able to make the second TC. However, in this case, I think Viper's approach was most likely going to be quite aggressive anyhow, due to the Civ matchup. So it does kind of help the style, I think, for him. And MBL happy to buy time because he doesn't want Viper to counterattack with any of this. And, oh man, MBL's going to run through here. And Viper doesn't want to lose his archers, so he says, hello, Age of Gates. And drops 2 gates there. Knight really helping out. In the end, Viper will lose his knight. But he is going to clear this army, and that's creative play from both. Good job from MBL to buy so much time here. And amazing job from the Viper to not lose more crossbowmen. As I say that, though, MBL goes doink. MBL could get another kill. Yeah, I think MBL should be really happy with this. Like, look at his army count. Viper has basically nothing. Yeah, this is a horrible position for Viper right now. He's got 3 crossbowmen. He'll have 2 Cav Archers, and MBL is about to be in Castle Age. Advantage MBL here in game number 1 in the semifinal. And again, I think it was Saracen Mongols in the series MBL played against Ito. Very similar. Where he's just got archers running towards crossbowmen, but because he has more army, he can do it. We'll have a monastery for MBL as he'll look to get relics with his Civ, which brings in 33% more gold per relic. He buys some stone back, having sold his stone earlier. Now he is the second TC, which feels like it makes so much sense because you know Viper's not going to be able to go for a second TC. Viper couldn't even get the stone for the next TC. I think Viper's in big trouble. I know Viper can come back from a lot of crazy situations, but this is bad. His eco efficiency's bad. His army count's bad. His upgrades are bad. He's very little, if any, potential for a counterattack. This is brutal. And okay, now the game's speeding up for me. And is it because we have a GG? And there was a spec delay? Okay, Viper calls the G. I imagine there was also a GG. And let's see. Nope, it was just a G from Viper. No drama. No drama. Calls the GG. I'm sure he meant to, and he just wants to move on to the next game. That was a really weird start to a series. Like a really, really, really weird start to the series. We had the triple pause. We had the double lane. We had the messiness the whole way through, largely due to the pauses, but also due to the MBL style. And Viper was just like, what? And this is probably, he already knew it was bad, and then he lost the Cav Archers there, and he just said, wow. So, GG, 18 to 17 KD, Eco was insane for MBL. And based on how that game went, I think MBL absolutely has a chance in this semifinal. Let's see if we see the classic Viper use that as a wake-up call to turn things around. My prediction was 4-1 Viper. Now, for that to happen, Viper would have to win 4 straight. That was rough. And again, my poor Huns just continue to get decimated in present-day meta. Painful, painful stuff. Okay, so game 2. The first one was not the type of game we wanted. We want 0 pauses, and we want non-stop action here. Hopefully everything's sorted out for Viper. It could be a start that could frustrate you a little bit. So let's see if he can recover here. He has a main gold that is perhaps revenge for all the map hacks jokes over the years. People used to make jokes that Viper would have the best maps. Viper has a Rhino on this hill as well. And here comes MBL. MBL running forward to try and lame Viper again. And will the Master Boar Lamer see that Rhino? Well, he's going the other way for the time being. Fortunate enough for Viper, because Viper really is going to need that. And I could see MBL not giving that up if you were to head over. Lithuanians for Viper. Berbers for MBL. Lithuanians have some great peaks because of the extra food they start with. Can lead to faster aggression, which is something Viper needs to do here. And MBL's base isn't that good either. There's hills everywhere. The gold is better. The woodlines are probably better as well. But I guess this area, like the stone and the berries on the front, could be awkward for him. Maps are not meant to be cozy. MBL made his map look pretty cozy in the first game. But King of the Desert's supposed to be pretty brutal and aggressive. See if MBL goes home or if he comes back to find Viper. Because he saw this gold, and then he saw a neutral gold. And that tells you you've ventured too far. And, oh man, he might actually run into the TC here. Oh man, nice dodge. And he will see the gold, but MBL misses that Rhino. Viper did the right thing to bring in a Rhino early. Though he did bring in the one that was over here instead of over here. So MBL is just going to venture home. There's a risk reward with laming. And MBL is just going to have to accept the fact that Viper's probably going to have a better feudal age than him. So my question is, when does MBL wall and where does he wall? That's a lot of walling to do. I actually think in order to stop MBL from getting away with walls, people need to go man-at-arms again. We've seen a lot of scout openings and a lot of archer openings. Man-at-arms is the way to pressure walls, in my opinion. Again, there's been a meta shift, so people don't like it as much right now. Whereas 6 months ago, people loved it. But against MBL, just break down those walls, put him under pressure, and man-at-arms can either stop the walls, or you can batter down the walls because a lot of them are on the hills. And then you follow it up with even just one archer, and MBL is going to need to have an immediate response. The game MBL played in the previous one, where he delayed his army production, confused Viper so much. And Viper just assumed that MBL wasn't going to have anything, came out with double range, and suddenly Viper had nothing, and the game was over. I'm going to quote Nilly, a tweet he posted multiple times over the last 4 or 5 years. Because you know Nilly, he's all about like optimal play, right? More so than I am. Always talking about what's best. And he's just said, how is MBL so good? And it's because he's so unorthodox. And his style and the flow of the game, it kind of breaks the minds of these guys who think they have a good grasp on what the meta is, including the Viper at times. So obviously in tournaments, Viper seems to always have MBL's number. MBL's got nothing to lose. He knows he's the underdog. If he were to lose here in this series, no one would blame him. So there might be less pressure on him right now. And he's going to go for 2 militia right now. Giving himself time to get some walls down, perhaps. Trying to push in the zebra. One last little push here, maybe. Put it near the mill. There you go. Knows where Viper's base is. So he will head over there. And Viper's seeing a really high score right now. I actually think Viper's score is making him think that he needs to wall this in. Because my first thought was, why did Viper wall this? What did he see? It's weird. I think you always should wall if you don't have the scouting. That's the safe play. Yeah, now you see the mill is late. And I think it's safe to assume that there might be an early barracks there. Oh man, Viper needs to get the quick walls down. He gets the quick walls down. Could still have some problems, but he needs to complete that barracks. Yeah, that barracks will go up, which will allow Viper to make a stable. And Viper could kill this villager with the faster feudal age. That scout is full HP. Viper goes for the stable. MBL trying to wall up. And I think if Viper were to attack this villager, MBL would just have 2 there. Wow, really well calculated. Because he walls over here as well. And now you're going scouts against a player who's completely walled. Is this fast castle for MBL? On Arabia? This is, at the very least, a very delayed feudal. It's an attempted fast castle. Nobody does this. What in the world? Okay, so anyway, scouts are on the way for Viper. MBL checking to make sure he's walled here. Gets his walls down. I still maintain that man-at-arm pressure just destroys this type of play. I would go, I mean, I would die. But if I were Viper or Tato or anyone, I would be going man-at-arms to pressure these walls. Dark Age houses are so weak now, as are Palisades. I think it'd be a lot more effective. Viper might just accept that he's not going to be able to do too much with these scouts, so he's going to clear the militia now. He doesn't want to produce too many scouts because he knows he won't have value from them. Having leftover scouts with the Lithuanians is incredibly important in the late game to get those relics. MBL will not be able to pull off a fast castle off of this, especially with these villagers all congregated underneath the town center. So it's like a slow feudal into some eco upgrades. It's literally just playing safe. It's just like, give Viper no opportunity to kill me in early feudal and then adapt from there. It's so interesting, his style. He's not the most defensive Age of Empires 2 player ever. He can be very aggressive. But his priority always is safety first, and then everything else is later. You could try and use a market and just, market, buy and sell res, go castle, but then you have very little when you get there. I think we just see a stable from him. He'll make a spear or two, and then he maybe makes his own stable. He's going to go for a range. Okay. Why is MBL the underdog if he's ranked 1? You mean on the ranked ladder? Well, certain players played ladder more consistently than others. Viper is the most successful Age of Empires 2 player ever. He has won 3 out of 4 King of the Desert editions. And he has 20... He's 20-5 in tournament sets versus MBL. Just a couple things. But the thing is ranked is... It's ranked. It's not a good sign of how good a player is compared to others. Once you get into the top 20 or top 30, that is pretty much how active is this player in playing ranked on any given week and how seriously do they take it, right? MBL plays a lot more ranked games than someone like Viper and most other players, for example. So we have Spearman from MBL. Loves his counter units, Spearmen and Skirmishers. Whereas other players say, I don't want to make too many Spearmen and Skirmishers because they die to Archers or Scouts. And because that I won't have the food to go Castle Age then. What Viper did this game that he didn't do in the previous game is he actually got some walls down. And I find it fascinating that he went for this gold. Because he could have actually gone for this gold, which would mean that this little army from MBL wouldn't actually do anything. Still, though, Viper's eco is looking really smooth. Since he is walled, he could just make a skirmisher or two and fire over top the walls to hit the archers from MBL. And MBL's scout actually goes down, so this is really good for Viper. And more spearmen for MBL, 4 of them. Dang. I think for Viper, you just want enough gold to go up to the next stage at this point anyways. You could just pull off the gold temporarily if you really need to. Anytime there's a weak villager, he'll just farm with that vill. And there's only one archer here, right? So that skirmisher's going to see the archer, and then the villagers just go right back to work. Stable for MBL now because he's maybe expecting skirmishers. If the map was open, it would make a lot of sense to make scouts against this. But it's just so interesting when you're watching MBL, right? The first game showed us how the weirdness of the timings on his attacks could surprise someone and find results. But now, I feel like, especially if Viper sees the stable, which he didn't, you can't really damage Viper if Viper can just fall back behind walls. Oh, man. There might not be many archers either. Viper's on the way to Castle Age here, and Viper's going to be loving life right now. And he sees the scout. So now, Viper could just save his skirms. And I think MBL's going to die really early in Castle Age. Oh, no, this archer. Oh, no, free archer kill. Oh, another free archer kill. Disaster. Well, maybe not, actually. Viper might actually lose his scouts. And here, Viper didn't want to try and save the skirms because he didn't want to let the army in. So, Viper might be disappointed he lost those scouts. I think it's actually worth making an extra scout here for your Lithuanians. And we have another pause. An Age of Pause Pyres here. Viper is 28 wood left on that tree. Needs to make sure he doesn't overchop that. And there is a hole there, which could be super annoying for him as he's now 90 seconds away from Castle Age. Someone in my chat says, I really hate whatever MBL tried to do here. The thing is, MBL trying this is a result of what worked in the first game. It is just MBL things. Can he do it consistently over 7 games? He changes up the timings of when certain units are made, but he always makes sure that he won't take damage. At the cost of a later Castle Age time, at the cost of a bit of a random army comp sometimes. And it can be really confusing, but when you figure it out, sometimes, you know, players like Viper, Hera, Yo, able to get kind of a good understanding on the timings that MBL is going to send at you over the course of a series. Issue for Viper here is he did lose his scouts. It was absolutely not worth it. I think having the extra scouts would have actually been more valuable now that I think about it. He sees this relic, and he sees this relic, and they're close enough, so that's good. But I think seeing this one would be really valuable, for example. Viper will lose those 2 skirms, so in a second he'll have 0 military. And if you don't mind me, I gotta fix my headphones. 1 sec. My headphones... Yeah, it was a hotkey issue for MBL. My headphones rolled underneath my computer chair wheel. I don't know if anyone can relate to that problem, but I just had to fix it because it was annoying me. All right. So, what? What? What are you doing, bro? That's scary. Okay, actually, maybe that's okay? That scared me for a second there. Still, MBL doesn't have a lot. And okay, in the end, I guess Viper ends up killing a scout. But, you know, right before Castle Age, it's your main goal that really freaked me out for a moment. And it's hard to explain, but if you have pauses in these games, you absolutely lose the flow of things. It takes you another like 30, 60 seconds to get a feel for the flow of the game. I don't know how many of you guys are pausing in competitive Age of Empires 2 games, but... So, I mean, from here... Viper has no map control. It's going to take him some time to build up to engage against MBL's really awkward army. MBL will be in Castle Age later, but MBL is technically applied more pressure than Viper ever did. Also, Viper's going to try and mass some knights here. He's going to obviously add some monks, but he doesn't really have the gold for that. It's weird, but it's working. This is actually working for MBL. And he has enough spearmen to engage against MBL, Viper's knights, too. Here, Viper could lose a villager to this. I'm telling you, MBL's style in combination with all the pauses here, and maybe some pressure of knowing it feels like a must-win for you if you're Viper due to how tournament results have gone in the past, could really affect Viper's play here. We'll see. But now, I was just me getting your hopes up. He's going to engage against these spearmen. They'll never be upgraded to pikemen because they'll be in the ground. And Viper gets the clear. And Viper will be able to heal up these knights. And Viper's on 2 TCs now, so he's going to have the better economy. Puts MBL in a position now where he needs to go, not all in per se, but he needs to have a lot of stable production. So he's going to add scouts because he's against the Lithuanians. Again, a great play. Viper's also adding scouts because he is Lithuanians. This knight is just going to wait to heal up next to the monk. And Viper will now know that MBL has scouts, so he just has to be really cautious with his monks. I think since you're Lithuanians, it makes sense to add a couple extra spearmen on the map right now. Viper is going to use his own scouts right now against this, which is supposed to also a semi-decent plan. But 1 or 2 spearmen against it is nice. Good engagement from MBL. Viper's probably looking here at the moment. And MBL micros back. Camels on the way for MBL. Cheap stable units with the Berbers. Viper's got weak knights. MBL does have the tools to deal with Viper's composition right now. He's got scouts against monks, and he's got camels against knights. This can work. All comes down to the timings and the engagements, and obviously getting relics is nice for Viper. And having the monks to convert the camels and or heal your knights is crucial. I just, again, back to MBL's style. He is behind, but he is not dead. And so his style allows him to survive the normal meta, but put him behind. No one wants to be behind, so they don't play like MBL. But if you're a good late game player, it might actually make sense. It's a really unique way of looking at the game. I like how Viper's on stone. He might need defensive towers or castles at some point if this gets out of hand. And a forward monastery from MBL. He's going to have 2 stables, 2 monasteries, and if you don't know a lot about MBL and you haven't already gathered that he's unique, he is, in my opinion, the best monk micro player in the game. If he really cared about Arena, I think he could dominate with monks there. He doesn't really like Arena. But I forget the video. It was Hera Viper. It was on Golden Pit, Aztecs versus Britons, where he had 5 monks convert like 4 mangonels and deny a castle. Maybe someone could link it. Maybe Hardy could find it. We could throw it in the description somewhere later. But anyways, it was a ridiculous moment. He just like boom, 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 boom. Converts so many different things at once. That was Hera MBL. Yeah, it was Hera MBL on Golden Pit is the game I'm thinking of. But there are other examples too. Oh, but Viper with the scout finds a monk. That's very well done. Also, I think Berbers don't get Sanctity, which can kind of be an issue with a lot of monks. So their monks are stuck on 30 HP. Viper with 1 relic. He has the Vil lead in terms of resources collected. He's behind. He should be ahead, soon. He's actually behind. Viper knows there's something here. He knows it's going to be a siege push. That's going to be relic number 2 for him. And Viper needs to consider taking this gold. The fact that Viper's not on this gold is baffling to me. Oh, man. MBL's got 5 monks here. He gets 5 knight conversions. This could be over. This could snowball out of hand very quickly. Viper tries to get conversions. MBL doesn't react right away. Those will be conversions. I think you have to delete your camels here for your Viper so you don't give it back. Okay, he's distracted. MBL gets his camel back. We have atonement for MBL so he can convert Viper's monks. He does not know it's pikemen yet from Viper. Viper wants to drop a castle, and he's going to drop a castle here, which tells us that he expects to lose this position. Not a castle that I would consider ideal. And there are pikemen actually over here from Viper, so MBL will have an idea that there's pikes out now. MBL on 3 town centers. Just now placed the 3rd town center. And he wants to hit this TC. And this is just because he's been looking for an area to do some real damage. And he hasn't been able to find it. Man, Viper's looking a little shaky, guys. I said that I didn't think we saw Viper's best. I'm not sure about King of the Desert thus far. Actually, I think against ACCM as well, we didn't see Viper's best. I think that's fair to say. Redemption's going to be in for Viper. He's going to try and convert MBL's siege. If he converts the siege, all of MBL's monks could go down because, again, there's no sanctity. But there's atonement for MBL, so he tries to convert Viper's monks. Viper back into the town center with the monks. Viper still has the superior economy. Is all over this back gold right now, as you even see TC number 4. And Viper's like, okay, well, you're not next to your buildings anymore, so have fun losing these things to my knights that have +3 attack right now. Look how many vills went down on this side because he clicked them across. I think he was expecting them to path this way, and they went, like, around and underneath that TC. Is this a spot for hill forts? No, because hill forts is too expensive. But you are right that there are some key situations where hill forts make sense for the extra range on the TCs. I actually love how Viper gave this up. I don't like how MBL, like, for Viper's sake, I don't like how easy it's been for MBL to gain this much control over the game. However, I think that trying to defend that TC would have been too difficult. And here you have Viper taking an attack against MBL's camels. And here you have Viper converting MBL's Siege Workshop, as Viper's going to drop another castle to defend from this push. And again, look at the position of it. It's very defensive. Viper does, however, clear up those camels. The knights are very strong right now. I think Viper needs to get fletching here. He's still got good economy. He's respecting MBL's attacks so much here. But I think you have to ensure that the units can't pass through your castles here. MBL's is stuck. I don't know what he's saying. Unless that is not him trying to say the word stuck and he's saying something in Norwegian? Translators are on it. Oh, the monks are stuck. Oh, it's a bug, by the way. I know what he's talking about. The monks were stuck, I bet. I will explain the bug later if you're curious, but I've reported it 3 weeks ago. And I know MBL had that issue on his stream, which is why I think he was saying that. Viper has somehow been able to hold on against all this attack. He's looking for his moments to convert the siege. And he could lose all of his monks. He could lose all of his monks. You don't want to give MBL monks. Especially monks that have sanctity now. And now we have another pause. So sorry, friends, for all the delays. It is unfortunate that that's the situation, but we roll with it regardless. To explain the bug stuck. So basically, if you task your monks to convert something, and then that something leaves. Okay, again, they're talking. And now Viper doesn't have any of these monks. Oh my god, what? If he's talking about that, basically your monks are converting something, and if that something leaves, you try and click your monks away, and the cancel noise plays, and you just can't move them. So your monks are just stuck, and they stand there. The way to get the monks out of that position is to press the stop hotkey, which I only figured out after I lost like 6 monks that were just literally standing next to my opponent's base and could never leave. Yeah, you just can't move the monks. It was introduced in the new patch, and we're using an old patch, but it's still a bug present because the old patch was like 3 months ago that broke some things. Anyways, okay, I'm getting distracted by some of these other factors here, right? I don't like it. We've got Viper on Pikeman right now. We've got MBL making Camel Archers. I really feel like MBL has a position to take game 2 here. If you look at his map control, he's got vision on this extra gold. Viper's kind of like stuck in his base. The Viper just has a corner. This is like full I sit defense here from the Viper. Viper's going to go Halb. Camel Archer are good against that. Lithuanians then could go Skirms as well. So you're going to have your work cut out for you if you're MBL. But a combination of like Hussar and Camel Archers can be insanely strong. You don't have a great trash killing unit though. If you're Berbers, I suppose you could try and go champion. I'm not sure if they get Gambasons, which is the new tech. That was the patch we're talking about from a couple months ago. And fingers crossed again that this goes smoothly here for these two in this semifinal. There's no real questions over it as far as other things are concerned. I want to see these two be able to play straight up. MBL's attacked, and now he's kind of falling back. And he's done the right thing. You want your castles to be very safe. But what I'd like to see from MBL is vision here. Outposts in the middle. You don't want Viper to be able to creep forward with a castle at any point or army and then start to snowball trebuchets against your castle. Speaking of vision, Viper outposting around the map. He's got 50 on food right now. He's still committed to some Latis. And he guys, this Latis distracting the camels. These Latis are going here, but MBL's ready. And again, outpost from Viper, but MBL's got gold and stone here. Those corners are huge. Uh-oh. Oh, did you see Viper's move there? Tries to lure those camels towards the pikes. That doesn't work. MBL with bracer. MBL with ballistics. Only 4 camel archers right now. I think Viper needs to win this game through the middle. And that doesn't mean he can't attack on the sides. The attacks on the sides can allow him to hit the middle more successfully because MBL will be distracted. But Trebs, bombard cannons, halbs, skirms, everything, and then boom, take out those castles. But your time is limited to do that, I feel, because once MBL gets to like 40 camel archers, your halbs aren't really going to be able to do too much. All right. Latis killing Mangonel. Not that big a deal. 2 Latis go down. MBL will take that trade. MBL will not like this, though. Viper's vision paying off. For a player who's been stuck in his own corner, he really has a lot to see. And here... Oh, God. 5 HP monks is... Or 5 HP camel versus a monk? Viper loses the monk. Ay, ay, ay. Well, he has 3 relics. I think he can be happy with that. He hasn't really had a lot of map control this game, so that's impressive. This is huge, though. And this is what I think is going to give Viper the game, potentially. Because as MBL figures this out, this is here. As he sends army over here to deal with this, it gives Viper the potential on the other sides. And you see what he's doing? He's being so annoying. Says, oh, okay. He's building a castle here. Nice. Okay, we'll hit this side. Just gives up the middle for now. And MBL's reactions have been awesome. Also, did Viper get guilds so he could sell resources at a better price? You don't see that on Arabia every day. Selling tons of wood. And again, more raids. MBL's camels have to chase. Damage control from MBL, but he's reacting an awful lot. Meanwhile, he's over here as well. Halb's actually getting some decent value. They do get more armor after the unique tech the Lithuanians have, which I think Viper's now researched. Can Viper build up the trebs? You've heard it from me many times. Do not trickle treb. Viper doesn't really need to take any tips from me. But I think that point's valid here. Just have 4 trebs minimum when you go to push these castles. He has the castles. And market galore. MBL even researching guilds now. Light cav for MBL. Sorry, for the Viper. So he can raid from the stables. And this is going to end up being a really annoying thing for MBL. Because he doesn't just clear up the units. He has to clear up the buildings, which takes time. Here's Viper. He's got 3 trebs. I don't know where the third one is. More raids on the left-hand side. MBL just cannot deal with these constant raids. It feels like he doesn't have army. He just doesn't have the army in the right spots. Like, he had the camel archers there, and then he ran into a castle, and then he's got raids here still happening, so he's to drop another castle, and then he had to deal with this. And now you see Viper with his trebuchets, and he's going to make a push against his castle. Really interesting, right? And a masterful display. You basically take the sides constantly, so you can then take the most important area, which ends up being the middle. MBL doesn't have any siege. He can't really deal with this unless his units can engage. But he has really good units in Elite Camel Archer and Camel and also the Monks. Viper had 4 trebs. He would absolutely take this out. I'm not 100% certain he does with 3. It's on the hill as well. Obviously, still very good for him that he's able to force repairs out of MBL. And the fact that these halbs are getting such a good engagement against the camels. A lot of heavy camels go down. Latest for Viper, they're going to go down as well, though. And all of a sudden, Viper doesn't have army anymore. And his trebs are exposed. And MBL could hold on here in this game. MBL's got castles everywhere. If he could defend the middle, Viper hasn't teched Skirm yet. Elite Camel Archer could win him this game. MBL will take that fight. He's still using his monks to get conversions. And this castle is still not down. But MBL's got to sell his soul to then buy stone. Ugh. There we go. Wow, man. I mean, Viper could still be raiding the sides in theory, but this sides he's got to give up on now. You could tell he tried. MBL is getting masonry now, too, to keep this castle up. Man, if Viper just had 1 or 2 more trebuchets. Because the thing is, you don't have to take an engagement here if your trebs aren't here. He's taking a fight so his trebs could take this castle out. Let's see. Masonry. Masonry could save him. A little boop. Oh, Masonry gives him a little boop. This is crazy, man. Viper still doesn't have Skirm. But MBL's like, he's not mining stones. This is getting really pricey. Holy cow, this is ridiculous. Now, this is good. There's just 1 or 2 units on the left. That's going to catch up with MBL. This as well, Viper's paying attention to. 33 Camel Archers for MBL right now. It is such a good unit. And if you try and make skirms against Camel Archers, the Berbers have cheap, stable units to counter the skirms. It's really tricky at this stage. And MBL is held on. I think Viper is running out of steam here. He doesn't have an answer to the Camel Archer on the field. He will have to try Skirmisher. He still has the stables here. This could be such a long game. Oh my goodness. Because Viper's still got so many castles that MBL will have to grind down. What a performance from these two. Oh, but the villager kills from Viper. Oh, what a great find. On top of the villager kills here as well. The castle is still standing, people. How much stone has MBL purchased? MBL, take the trebs out, man. Take them out. Come on. He's being patient with it. This is ridiculous. He can't take this stone as well, if he notices. Viper has a couple Lightcav through here. We know there's been Latus and Lightcav elsewhere. Viper has a better economy. His trades are awful, but finally, the castle goes down. And MBL is 30 villagers behind the Viper. What in the world? So it was the consistency of economy from Viper and the fact that he's really well protected. And then while he was going for that push, the fact that he was able to find eco damage, that now makes me think that he is back in the lead here. Dang. All right, so now the concern for MBL is how do you push a castle? Where do you even go? Your eco, he needs time to fix his eco, so I don't even think he could go for another unit right now. He probably needs Camel Archers here. Like, he could see this. Viper's looping Lightcab over here. MBL saw that as well. What a great reaction from him. He's probably been thinking, how did the other Lightcab get through? And now he knows. Viper is... Where did he move with his trebs? Okay, he's moving his trebs to this side. Makes sense, right? Because you've got the castles from MBL there. And Viper's just completed the winged Hussar upgrade, so now his Hussars are even stronger. Great tech in this situation. I would completely give up on Latus at this point. I think you go Skirm, you go Hussar, you go Halb, you go... Well, I guess I already said Skirm. All your gold is for siege at this point, I think. And then there will be some times where you might need a real power unit like the Latus, but the most important gold unit you have is your trebuchets, and he's wheeling them around, trying to get over to those castles. Now, this is going to be interesting again, because... Well, I don't know if MBL can stop 5 trebs, actually. The Camel Archer mass is insane, but Viper has finally understood he needs a few more trebuchets, and if he just brings the trebs here, that castle's down. A couple of nice raids here from Viper. He's... Okay, we have another pause. Oh, God. But yeah, the population is 200 for Viper in a moment. Yeah, stone price is pretty expensive. Viper does have enough stone for another castle. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just, I don't see how MBL ever takes out Viper's eco. Camel Archer can keep MBL alive, but presently I don't think he has the tools to be able to actually kill Viper's economy. Why no skirms? He is going to tech switch into skirms soon. He wants to take care of the castles first, and with ballistics on the way now, I think we're going to see ranges somewhere, and he will go skirms.
Yes.
Okay. MBL will have little idea that this is happening. Viper may end up pulling more camel archers over here because he's running in with raids. So yeah, you force some type of reaction. MBL doesn't really know where to go. Didn't know about this castle as he was sending camel archers there. Now he sees it, and now this castle's a goner. And you just can't stop from unraveling here if you're MBL. Viper has too much map control. He has too many hussars in too many different positions, and he has the trebs to take out your castles. And while the camel archer's strong, the rest of the game layout is so much better for the snake right now. What's kind of funny is if this game continues, MBL's still probably going to have 60 camel archers, but he's going to lose villagers. He'll have like 70 camel archers and then 30 villagers at some point in this game if he were to play on. Viper's trebs are not firing on the castle. There he goes. And yeah, what Viper or MBL's been missing is probably bombard cannon. He's adding the siege workshops here. We even have hoardings for the Viper and architecture, so his buildings never go down. MBL back down below 100 vills. And Viper wants to just castle creep. Because the castle's the most important part of this defense for the Trebs. Even Latus, with all their strength, just get melted by these camel archers. That's a good play. Raids are continuous from Viper. We'll look at his point of view. Just look at the minimap. He sees virtually everything right now. And he's happy to toss away army if that means trading against a castle. And this is the more difficult one to get. He'll get this one. And then that means he's going to get this one as well. And for those that want to see skirms from Viper, he still hasn't done it. Castle from Viper goes up. And he's going to repair these trebuchets. Just once the castle, I think he can pack him up now. I think the castle's done. Yep. Loses 1, loses 2-ish. Trebs 2, 3. He'll lose 4. He might even lose all 5. I think MBL should dive underneath the castle for it, but I don't know, man. I mean, impressive job from MBL, but I think this is the bounce back game for Viper. There's just too many villagers going down for MBL. And he has never had the siege to be able to contest these positions. Well done for Viper to have the patience here. And I don't know, like, I was really worried that Viper was going to throw the game when he was pushing this castle. But in the end, he just had such a good economy. And he had faith that even though the KD wasn't pretty for him, that he could continue to toss away units simply for the position. Look at those resources for the Viper. And look at the winged hussar numbers for Viper too. MBL needs to defend every area with different amounts of army, and it's an impossible game to play. MBL selling more wood to buy more stone, just like he did before. He's going to try and use that cannon for the trebs. And Viper's going to temporarily push the cannon back. I don't think he'll kill it. Oh, he kills it. He actually kills it. Saw it the whole way through. MBL taps out. And we have ourselves a semifinal here. 1-1. I'm really excited for this series because I'm still seeing signs that MBL's different play, his uniqueness of the timings of his attack, when he walls, when he pushes, what he mixes in, is enough to kind of shake things up in every single game here, right? We saw him win a game with it in game number 1. In game number 2, he took it late, and he gave himself a real chance. 165 villagers were killed by Viper in this game. Viper only lost 22. How is my headphones are glitched. My headphones are giving me problems again, but I'm a procaster. I imagine Viper probably had 10,000 more resources collected in this game. I was off. make it 22,000 more resources collected. So if there was ever a doubt for us, ever a concern there for the Viper, he would say everything was fine. 31,000 wood, 43,000 food, 19,000 or 18,000 gold, and then 4,000 stone collected. Somehow got 3 relics when he had very little map control. His first castles were so defensive, but it worked out, and he was able to fight out from the defensive position he had by using the corners. I think MBL will regret not having the camel archers a bit earlier to be able to patrol those areas and stop those villagers from building those stables. Because it wasn't just the raids, it was just how easy it was for Viper to do so with the side stables. Typically when I cast these players, I'm saying this is very good for the Norwegian, and now they're both Norwegian, so it's kind of screwing me up. I guess it could be good and bad for the Norwegian at the same time, if that's how this happens in this game. Malay Spanish was just saying this has not been a common matchup, so I'm excited to see it here. Game 3, MBL Viper. Viper playing as the Malay. They advance faster to the next stage, which means they spend less time researching the next stage, which means they get back to creating villagers faster, which is essentially a vill lead for them. And Malay are just a civ of timings, right? Early feudal is not really their biggest time, but early castle and early imp is where they dominate, and Viper is a player of timings. MBL is just like weather the storm, right? You're faster to feudal, good, I have walls. You're faster to castle, great, because I've got houses. Like, if MBL weathers the storm with Spanish, Spanish's late game is ridiculous. And Malay's late game isn't too bad either. They just play out very differently. A big thing to mention, though, in a crossbow-heavy meta, is that Spanish don't get crossbowmen. So MBL is going to have to do something else. But MBL loves Spearman, Skirm, Monk. And Spanish have fantastic monks. They have fantastic trash. And I could see it working out for them. Now, they're actually quite close together here. Neither player has gone out to lame, I'm noticing. So that's unlike the first 2 games. And maps seem pretty fair. I think Viper's map is definitely way better, though. Oh my god, actually, Viper's map is incredible. If he gets a wall down here, which is super easy to do, he will have all 3 golds behind his TC. MBL, this is more along the same lines of what we've seen in King of the Desert. You can wall, but then your golds and stones are exposed. So yeah, advantage Viper as far as the map's concerned. But of course you have to play the map, and maybe Viper will be too defensive and invite pressure. A lot of people are asking why we saw Malay picked so much, and why we saw Malay banned as much as we did in King of the Desert. So if you're curious on that, I'll explain. So I think had the Malay not received any changes whatsoever, they would have been picked in this tournament. Advancing faster to the next stage and an archer-heavy meta suits the Malay. It just does. However, what has made the Malay stronger now is the fact that they get the infantry armor upgrades for free. So when the Karambits come out later, they're immediately quite strong. And it was always an underrated unit. The pikemen, right? The man-at-arms, the militia, all those things. There's so many different stages in the game where that armor helps out. And Malay have always been really sneaky good, right? Like Vipers played really well with them for years. Some players have preferred them on maps other than water. So that was what made it not even a question. Before it was, well, I advance faster, I have archers, but then what if that doesn't work? Now it's, well, if that doesn't work, you have this and the other thing, right? So I actually think the best build order for the Malay is to go for the 2 militia or just 3 militia into man-at-arms into archers. I think you're playing against some bonuses if you don't mix in infantry before the archers. And I've been very clear on this. I said it after game 1. I want Viper to go for militia. Like, go for infantry to delay MBL's walls or pressure the walls. He will melt the walls with man-at-arms. Now, then MBL is just going to go skirms, and then he'll just defend probably because it's MBL and he doesn't take damage because he's a beast at that. But it's just a thought. Someone said Viper only has 1 rhino. Are you sure? No, he has 2 rhinos. Stop making me look bad. He probably just brought in his first rhino early because MBL could steal it. He's good. Yeah, and he didn't shoot it with his TC either. He's in a good spot. Whoa, this timing is insane. 20 population? Most people don't do this because you make it to feudal age and you actually can't do anything with it. Which in theory means that you should create 2 more villagers. So you have those 2 more villagers collecting resources. You want to get to the next stage to gain something. It will freak MBL out, though. Which I think in a tournament setting absolutely does something for you. But we'll see if Viper... Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he gets the stable up. Was he go scouts, maybe? I think he might consider scouts. Oh, wow. This is sick. Look at the timings, too. The house is perfect, so he's got the pop space. Stable's going to come up. Right? Nope, he's going to go eco upgrades. Okay. A build order that Malay used to do on Arena, actually. And this will be in MBL's head. MBL's going to say, what? He's up already? What is he doing here? Oh, and MBL just lost his scout! Disaster! Disaster! Oh, because you have to make army now. You have to think that MBL's or that Viper's doing something. You either do that, or you take a massive risk and say, I'm not going to make army. I'm just going to wall up and hope that this guy doesn't do anything. Because if he could see that MBL, or that Viper rather, wasn't going for military buildings, he would probably do the same himself, make a spearman for this scout, and just wall. So notice how Viper has a Vil lead because he spent less time researching the next stage. He's investing fully in the economy now. And he gets to see that MBL is on gold. And he's making an archer range with Spanish. I mean, hey, archers in feudal age could still do something. So Viper has to respect that a little bit. And he's going to add his range now. MBL's spearman is going forward because he wants to know what Viper's doing. And he is going to spot the range. Well played from MBL to do that. That's a really good job. A lot of players just... Like, I think I would keep my spearman near my wall villager. Now, if I don't keep my spearman near my wall villager, I probably lose it to the scout. But at this point, he's got an archer. And the scout's a little bit weak. This is one of the best bases Viper could ask for. And Viper sees the archer there. And Viper just... He might even just make one skirm, honestly. Because he's keeping an eye on all this. And because MBL doesn't have a scout, MBL can't really contest skirms. I think eventually you want to be on archers if you're Vipers, so... And maybe think more about that. But just a couple skirms defend from this. And you know if you defend against it, MBL needs something else later on. Forget who it was in my chat, but someone said, I predict 4-2 for the Viper. Viper will lose the first game and then turn it on. And the first game was as bad a first game as you could have really seen from the Viper. I mean, it was good from MBL. It was honestly just weird overall because we had a bunch of pauses. But yeah, anyways. Viper's definitely stepped it up since the first game. He's got 11 farms now with horse collar. And MBL's got 6 on food? Ay. I mean, he will be walled. But now the skirms are here. And now the skirms could kill the archers. As we would have expected, right? But MBL didn't know the skirms were there. He couldn't check with the scout. I want to check resources collected here in a second. Let's see that. I'm surprised it's not more, honestly. I think it will be because of the amount of farms. Because at this point, MBL's got villagers that are collecting res that have to build the farm. It takes time. You build the farm. It takes time for the food drop-off. All of Viper's eco is dropping off constantly. Where's Viper's scout right now? Active. Moving around the map. Maybe looking for that archer, actually. And Viper's been in full control this game. I feel like it was the perfect combination of taking a slight risk and also your opponent being unlucky. The fact that he went no military building, which was already kind of going to have MBL on edge, and then MBL lost his scout. Okay, skirms and archers from MBL. Tells Viper, maybe I need to make a couple more skirms. Don't want to get overwhelmed here. And MBL's going to go scouts as well. So MBL's forever feudal. Let's look at res collected now. What? Maybe the way I see resources collected is just off, right? Was anyone else surprised when Viper had 10 more villagers in the previous game? And then MBL still had like 300 more resources collected? And that was pretty crazy. Classic MBL. Spearman, Skirmisher, Archer. Just a weird AI combination of army. And Viper canceled fletching. Ugh. It doesn't know scouts are coming. It's still real greedy. He's going to be Castle Age sub 18 minutes. I feel like he didn't have to be this greedy. And now he's going to go for a tower. Shocking, man. Shocking. I mean, and again, a great job from MBL. It's like Viper always feels like, I'm okay here. I could just be greedy. And then MBL shows up with enough. I think you got to question it from the Viper here. You had the dream scenario. Just make some army, man. Make some skirms, make some archers combined, and head up towards Castle Age. Delay your Castle Age. That's completely fine. Anyways, he does defend from it. He's going to go for Man-at-Arms now. And we're going to maybe get to see the Gamba Sense tech pretty soon. Don't get your hopes up. We might see supplies, though. Classic. Fast uptime, what do you even do with it? He can't gain any benefit from this fast uptime. Except for eco upgrades, which of course is a benefit. And MBL uses the market, sells some wood, buys some food. And he's going to click up to the next stage. I think MBL could do some crazy things in Castle Age here. Like, think about it. Viper has clicked the Man-at-Arm upgrade and Squires. That right there is 200 food and 40 gold, okay? Then he needs the longsword upgrade, and the cost of that changed. I think it's 160 food and maybe 60 gold. I don't remember. But whatever it is, he's got to research that. And he's got the units. MBL already has a stable. Knights are way faster. MBL's not going to struggle against longswords. And then Viper's in this caught, like, in-between mode. Do I boom and drop a town center? And do I, attack? And his attack's not really good enough to do anything, so he's obviously going to boom, which is going to give MBL map control. Second archer range for MBL is a little surprising, though. But I guess he will maybe feel like Viper will go monks against any knights, so he's going to go cav archers? MBL's knock on the stone. I think that's completely fine. I wonder if we're going to see Spanish cav archers here. Viper with 6 Man-at-Arms right now. Fast feudal into eco upgrades. Fast castle into Man-at-Arms. He's read the wrong playbook. The monk is out in the open. The scout's going to go in there in combination with the skirms. Viper blocking the scout. The monk does go down, though, and that's beautiful play from MBL. As he's now on the next stage, and he is going Spanish cav archers. I do not hate it. Spanish cav archers get full blacksmith upgrades. They probably miss Parthian tactics, but it's still a good unit. Listen, it's been an interesting series, right? It's been an entertaining series because I have not known what to expect. It has been a break the meta series in so many different ways. As we now have longswords completed from Viper. Longswords against cav archers is not a play that I can agree with for many reasons. Longswords are, however, almost broke through on this side. And MBL quickly dropping a house there to buy himself time for his cav archers. Viper's longswords are slowly going down. Him getting the armor upgrades for free, by the way, means that this is a little bit more threatening towards his opponent, but as the units get stuck there for MBL, he kills the skirms, and MBL's got 6 cav archers. Viper's got 1 cav archer he converted, I assume. Did he convert that? I guess so. Maybe he made it. I don't even know. He's got 2 skirms. He's got a couple monks. This is just crazy. So I said this when the patch came out with Gambesons and the cheaper infantry upgrades, the biggest patch, Age of Empires 2. I never thought it was going to change the meta, right? Like, I'm never going to see Longsword see meta. Longsword is a slow unit with lower attack, and the benefit of it is its cost is rather cheap. If a slow unit with lower attack starts to dominate everything else, the balance of the game is broken. Where I feel the longswords can work out is in situations where you would have needed them, like against heavy pikeman play or heavy skirm play, let's say. The extra pierce armor helps a lot more, like having Gambesons. And then also the faster research time on that whole line in combination with the cheaper cost on some of the upgrades, like I think Longsword and Two-Handed Swordsman, is very nice. So it didn't shake up the meta. It made it easier to go Longswords, but Longswords still isn't a very competitive opening. It's now a competitive option to switch to if the situation is there. And my question is, what situation did Viper see where he felt like going into the Longswords was going to accomplish anything for him in this game? I could see it in a ranked game, but this is the King of the Desert semifinals here. And listen, if I'm the winner of the first semifinal, who I'm not going to say because someone just said to me earlier they didn't watch that yet, so I'll try and keep my mouth shut. But if I'm the winner of the first semifinal, and I'm watching this right now, and he probably is, he's probably like, I really hope that if it's Viper, I see Longswords against me. I would love that. Spanish Cav Archers too. If MBL moves on here, bring it on. It's just been that type of series, dude. Skirman Monk for Viper. He's got 0 relics. But he is on 3 TCs. He looks like he's going to go for ballistics. Good defense with the skirmishers. And Viper's going to build up here towards the defensive castle, it seems. Not sure what he'll defend. Looks like MBL lost a monk to that Cav Archer from Viper. I say not sure what he'll defend because he actually has all of his golds in the back. So I think maybe just here or here makes sense to protect the front of your base against a siege push, which MBL is now going to come forward with. If it is siege, I could see Viper immediately clicking Redemption. I think it'd make a lot of sense. He's got the monks anyways. And now Viper's going to be on the prowl with these skirms for villager kills or Cav Archers because ballistics will be in. Resources collected right now. Viper's about 2k ahead. Make it 1,500. MBL wants to meet up with the siege. That was so cool. He attacked this. Viper reacted to it. And then MBL just runs away somewhere else. Viper sees this. Doesn't see the siege. He splits away. And this is going to buy him time for redemption, right? Redemption. That's the perfect move. So 2 games in a row, Viper falls back to the redemption tech against the siege push from MBL. But this is not really a push yet. It feels like MBL's thinking that this army composition can work really well into maybe a forward castle for pressure. But after the whole longsword shenanigans for Viper, things are looking a lot cleaner for him now to build up towards Imp and maybe lots of archers. And I think MBL is going to struggle in this instance right here. Because ballistics is already in. He's going to lose all of his siege. And oh boy. Oh, what do you even do? I think you would need to have light cav here. Well, you kill the monks. Can he kill the monks? Oh, he lost one of his mangonels and he's coming forward for the castle. Oh god, MBL. Okay, still has 1 mango. Viper doesn't have any more monks, but MBL's not going to have any more Cav Archers. And oh no! Oh no, MBL! Ripperoni. Oh, jeez. He's going to drop the castle there. He's like, I need to get one of them down. Because if I advance any further, it's not going to happen. Honestly, a good move. He could have maybe had it here, but this could still lead to further aggression in this area and maybe snowball into something. Viper, though, seeing that, he'll recognize it doesn't immediately damage him. He drops this, and he's been cool as a cucumber as far as his economy is concerned. He's just been super economic this entire game. And he's close to clicking up to Imp. MBL has just clicked up to Imp. Viper idling his town centers. He's not spending any more food on anything, actually. Not skirms, a crossbowman. And he will obviously win that race to Imp due to the melee bonus. And there he goes. All right, so Viper will have enough stone for another castle as well. And MBL's main problem is he doesn't actually have an army to upgrade in the next stage. Elite skirm would make sense for him. I mean, Viper's army is really small, but we shall see. Feels like Viper needs a castle here right now. Moving over this way. MBL drops a town center there. We have Karambits with the Viper. Maybe a castle here. TC there. Interesting. Okay. Viper will find a villager kill. Bam. Nice job. MBL just had some defensive siege. Is obviously concerned about this. And with the siege workshop and a university on the front, that tells me MBL wants chemistry to unlock bomber cannon. Is making a couple conks as well. What? A one villager castle. If this was a hidden cup right now, I think everyone would be screaming Viper. What? Event semifinal. One villager castle on a neutral resource because he's that confident. And MBL doesn't see it. But it actually fits the situation because MBL doesn't have an army to deal with this right now. Also, over here, Viper's going to kill the monk. Viper's going to have a trap. He too will have chemistry, by the way. Viper doesn't actually have any villagers on stone, though. So if he doesn't end up getting... oh, man. Karambits come in for the mango. Such great work over here from Viper. Hello? Hi. Hello? Viper, Karambits. There you go. Yeah, if he ends up having to repair his castle, he's going to struggle a bit more than MBL will. Yeah, castle will go up. MBL will lose that control. MBL now getting conscription. MBL still doesn't have a large army. Viper's isn't even that large, to be honest with you. But it certainly has a lot more, with a lot more upgrades than what MBL's working with right now. This game went late, and I think if it goes super late, I prefer Spanish with the Hussars, the Skirms, the Halbs, the Siege Ram. I think it's even better as MBL gets supremacy. Oh, no, his castle, though. The conks are going into the castle fire. He didn't realize that. Is MBL going to Vill Rush right now? Is he going to use his villagers against Viper's Trebs? That would be epic. It would probably lose in the game, but it would be epic. Because I guess Skirms and Vills? Because supremacy means your villagers are insane. As the Spanish. Castle's going to go up. Hidden cup confirmed. So there will be. There will be. I got to tease every once in a while, right? But I honestly don't know exactly when. We're working on a lot of big details to make sure it's really good when it happens. So MBL opened up the series so strong. His population's still good, but it's just all Viper everywhere you look. He's got to have 21 skirms. Viper is going to take out more and more units here on the front. Converts another mango. Could start to take out these buildings with the trebs. He has the infantry armor upgrades for free, right? So with these castles, if he just wants to spam Karambit warriors, he can. And that seems to be like that's going to be the plan for him. He doesn't have elite Karambit yet, unless I missed it. Yeah, no elite Karambit. But he does have 3k gold. Well, I don't really have a unit that costs a lot of gold. Viper might be a 5k and he could still win this game. His Karambits are cheap. They're cheap and they're easy to mass, but they're not really that expensive. And it just... This whole game has just felt like Viper being greedy because he knows he can. Building up towards late game control. The one villager castle was a perfect example of it. He's actually in the back here with this small army. And MBL is losing on the front. He's losing on the right. He's losing in his base. He's dropping a defensive castle, which I think we know is a sign that this game is probably over for him. And the Viper's going to go up 2-1. MBL was unlucky to lose his scout at the start. And a lot of how this game played out resulted from that. When you're in this position, you never want to buy food if you're Viper. Because while you need food for Elite Karambit, you don't want MBL to be able to sell food for a better price. So you just kind of just keep going without Elite. And he is catching up on more upgrades too. Like, you still needed attack upgrades for the Karambits. And maybe Viper needs to be careful here. He's trying to use monks against the bombard cannons. That's not going to happen because MBL correctly micros down the monk. But now some Karambits are headed in there towards the cannon. MBL microing his best. But that's going to be a cannon down. Still did get 2 trebs though. That's still worth it. Just MBL stuck in a corner, man. Like, he can't go anywhere. He can't do anything. I think a unit that would be good for him would be... Oh, God. I don't know. I need to get new headphones, apparently. But I think a unit that would be really good for him here would be Hussar, but he doesn't have the time or the economy for it. The Viper's just slowly picking away at everything. And I think MBL fully recognizes how helpless this game is right now. But it is a best of 7. So he drops a castle there to protect an area that he's kind of already struggling with. Viper's going to drop a castle here, which will protect the goal. Actually, MBL, he could attack around that castle with the bombard cannon, maybe. Now they're Elite Karambits. Okay. Castle for Viper will likely go up. And I'm running out of things to say due to the dominance from the Viper here, friends. This is a get out of my game monastery. It's not disrespect, it's convenience, but that is a get out of my game monastery. If you're MBL fighting for your life under a lot of stress and you see a monastery, oh, he changed it. He didn't want to be mean. He thought about it, but he moved it a bit further back. Okay. All right, but we saw it, guys. Okay, we saw the foundation because we were paying attention. And he's just going to wait for those relics. MBL does an extremely good job at staying in games where it feels like he should be out, right? Still somehow at 150 pop. The guy hasn't taken a good trade in a while, it feels like. And still trying to hold on to this castle. Still trying to push Viper's castle. Viper will now have fully upgraded Karambits. Again, they take up half a population space. Not full population. If you're just fighting with 5 of them, they're actually rather weak. You need to have a big group of them, like 20 or 30. And Viper's kind of had issues doing that because his castles are all in separate areas. Guess he's got 2 castles to fight with from the front. But, I mean, Karambits continue to attack on this side, and he's going to steal the relics. Oh, there is a relic over here too, by the way. But yeah, Viper's going to snag these 2 relics. Says, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And MBL continuing to fight. And this game is over. Someone said this series is the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. I assume that meant that Viper was the unstoppable force and that MBL was the immovable object. But the immovable object was movable this game. Viper goes up 2-1. And obviously we have quite a few more games here. I hope we do see more. And that MBL can turn it around because the last 2 games, while they both went to Imp, Viper has always had the better economy. And this theme where MBL's later to Castle Age, and then he's under pressure to do damage to Viper, and he can't quite do enough, has been present ever since, game 2 started. The way I see it, though, is that's probably going to continue to be the theme. That's just how MBL plays. You have to stick with how you play the game. You can't try and play your style and play like everyone else and go fast feudal and all that stuff. I think you can maybe tweak it a little bit. I think you could delay your walling a little bit more or be a little bit more aggressive before the walls. But overall, I still think MBL should do that. 63,000 resources collected there for the snake. Made it look easy. 156 vills. Dang. Well, ladies and gents, we still have at least one more game after this. We don't know how many it'll be, but it's looking good for the Viper after 2 straight victories. Viper comes into this game playing with his final pick, and it is Bengalis. a civilization that many people see as very awkward for Arabia. They don't get knights on Arabia. That can be a killer. And then MBL's gone for his second pick, essentially his first wave. He had picked Aztecs and then Mayans, and he's now on Mayans. So if MBL doesn't win this game, he then has used his top picks. Viper hasn't really, not all of them anyways. And then he's down 3-1 against Viper, who's won 3 King of the Deserts. So it feels like MBL needs to win this game. And to win this game, maybe he feels like he needs to lame, get back to his roots a little bit, so we see his eagle running forward. Now, Bengalis get 2 more villagers when they arrive to each age. And more specifically, you get 2 villagers from each town center when you make it to the next age. So Viper will have an economy lead because of that. They do have great archers, so that's cool as well. But if there's a world where MBL is heavy on skirms, which we know MBL loves, and you can't make knights, it just feels kind of awkward. I mean, I think they do have... Oh my god, delete the lumber camp. What is that lumber camp? What? You chopped 2 trees and you're not next to the wood anymore. Okay, anyways... it is now Tuesday. This is a Lowy the Legend Lumber Camp, and I can say that because Viper one time casted one of my games and titled it Lowy the Legends on his channel. So anytime I make that joke towards him, it is revenge for that. Which, by the way, in that game, this was years ago, my girlfriend at the time came in. Well, that was really poor wording. She's now my fiance, okay? My woman came in, that's even worse, and dropped the cat on my shoulder, okay? I didn't know Viper was casting. I'm winning the game. Cat gets dropped on my shoulder. I'm like, ah! I start to throw my army. We laugh. We cry. I get tilted because I find out Viper was casting it. That's the full story. But I told him that, and he said he didn't believe me. So, anyways, the lumber camp's bad. Maybe he places the lumber camp there so he could wall easier later on. But he will definitely need a second one. MBL is more like it. You can chop through 3 or 4 trees and still be very close to the other trees there. I totally made that all worse. Oh, MBL with 2 villagers. He's taking lame to the next level here. He didn't find an elephant from the Viper. And he knows the lumber camp is there. Okay, this is what I think happens. He tries to wall Viper in and kill both villagers because they're not loomed. If Viper quick walls this, he's fine, but he does not have loom in his plans. Viper? Oh! The gate will go down though, won't it? Oh! Oh! Viper sends more vills to try and escape! MBL with the plays! And Viper deletes the lumber camp. Good. It was good for nothing anyways, honestly. It was the best lumber camp you could possibly delete. Oh my god, Viper's so experienced. He knew he was going to have to delete a lumber camp, so he placed a bad one. That's going to be on Reddit later, probably. But still, very good damage there from MBL. I think it was the correct play from Viper to do what he did there. But his eco is now a wreck, and MBL, I guess, is going to wall in the berries now. Which I really like. I think this is a good plan. Also, where's Viper's scout at? Okay, Viper's scout is over here. Sorry, I saw the blinking, and I'm really hyper all of a sudden, and I thought the scout went underneath the TC. MBL doesn't know where the villagers went. Or Viper doesn't. Viper makes a new lumber camp, and when Viper goes to place a mill on his berries, they're going to be completely walled in. MBL needs this game. If he wins this one, it's tied up 2-2, and it's anyone's series. And Viper might be a little shook right now. He's going to also... What? Is he just going to hide his Vil there? MBL? If he was in feudal, obviously this would be for a tower. Is he just going to chill there so he can tower later? I think he is. That is so interesting. Most pros do not like the idea of there being an idle villager here, so I don't know if he'll make a house with it or what. But he's on stone in Dark Age already? Okay, listen. I love this series. This series has been the most entertaining KOTD series. But I'm not crazy when I say that there have been some off-the-wall strats, right? I know that's what we want. But I don't know if we're going to be able to see some of these things happen in the final tomorrow. Viper now sees the Palisades. He's going to take out those Palisades. Dark Age Palisades are weaker. What Viper does not see is he doesn't see this villager just chilling here. Viper will get 2 villagers in a moment when he arrives to the next stage. And economically, he's going to be fine. He'll be able to make archers at the timing he wants. He'll be able to take berries. It's just awkward. And now MBL is going to build a forward barracks in the middle of the map, just as we all expected. After leaving with some villagers and going home, he's now gone back forward. And Viper is going to see this eagle, knows the eagle is a bit weak from earlier, and is going to get the kill on this eagle and actually bring villagers out. Yeah, and MBL is to be careful here. Uh-oh, Viper trying to block. This could definitely slow down MBL's plans. The barracks will probably complete, but in order to force it down, he has to lose a vill. Maybe more. MBL is going to try and quick wall. Doesn't get the quick wall down there. And he's going to lose another villager there. What a great reaction from Viper to come out here like that, though. And now he sees the one villager building the tower. Oh, God. That's so funny to me. It's so cute, bro. It's so cute. Okay, so MBL has lost 3 units in this game. He actually senses that Viper is building a tower there with his outpost, so he's just going to abandon that area with his vill. He doesn't know Viper's going archers. Viper will have an archer here in a second that will show him that. And MBL still doesn't have an archer range. And I am sorry to say, guys, but I think this game is going to be over very soon. It's MBL, and he can drag it out, but, like, I see 2 archers on the field for the Viper before MBL even has his archer range completed. And I think the immediate move for Viper here after trying to deal with all of this is simply just counterattacking. And if you counterattack and hit MBL's main eco, MBL's going to have nothing there for a while. Oh, and MBL's housed. Oh, like he's trying to make it messy, but the messiness has actually affected him more than it has affected the Viper here. Because now he's even delayed even further on the skirmishers. Maybe I'm wrong. MBL, maybe this is he thrives in the chaos. Let's believe. Let's believe that he can get this job done. He is going to have eagles coming out of the barracks as well. So, a couple spearmen, couple skirms. There goes Viper for his counter. And Viper isn't on stone, so he's not in a position to make more towers. He is going to drop a stable here to go scouts instead of getting fletching on the archers. Interesting. And you see a tower there from MBL. Viper doesn't see it, but he knows that there was an eagle there a second ago, so now he's got his archers there. MBL's got a skirm. Viper's going to rush this down. Meanwhile, Viper trying to kill the villager. He's distracted at home. He won't kill the villager. Well played, MBL, but MBL's tower will not go up. And Viper will be a little disappointed he didn't find that villager kill. But that's great game sense from MBL to know that you're exposed at home and that those archers would be going there. MBL is going to try again. None of the units that MBL has here are really that good against villagers. So that's why Viper can continue to rush it down. He's on stone now, but he can't make a tower yet. And look what Viper's trying to do here. So he's looped the archers this way. And MBL's trying to chase to kill the archers, right? Now there's the scout. And MBL has traveled such a long distance. There's no way those skirms ever survive now. It feels to me like Viper is simply just going to counterattack to MBL's base. And MBL will need towers or something to defend from this. Scouts and archers are a problem. 32 villagers versus 36. I do want to check res collected. And res collected is identical. Part of that could be resources lasting longer for the Mayans. MBL bringing his spearman home. Viper, almost took a hit there. And this is where the micro really matters, because we're going to have fletching for both players in a moment. MBL abandoning his stone, adding a range from home. Viper, am I missing something? I guess, I mean, the lumber camp's not a big deal anymore. It was just in Dark Age, it wasn't so good. Viper will see that MBL doesn't have fletching. Now he'll be able to see that fletching is in if he's looking for it. Villagers from MBL just head home. It's been extremely messy. The food eco for both is kind of struggling, which is why Viper's dropping a market. But it just feels like Viper's in control. MBL pop locked again. Tower over here on the berries. Still exposed on the wood. What we say about MBL is we say he has to make it messy. And I think the reason the style is so tricky is Viper, you can't really make it messy. Viper, he is better in chaotic moments than anyone. I can't even say that anyone else you'd put in the top 5 because everyone else in the top 5 is so good at it. But yeah, he's just kind of used to it, right? And I've been casting these two for almost a freaking decade now, right? So we've kind of seen crazy attempts from MBL over the years. But it's just the interesting mix of army that really gets me about MBL. But you see what Viper's doing. He takes out the problem childs here. He takes out the archers and he takes out the spearmen. And now the rest of his army is going to be able to dominate. The skirms disappear. 15 to 6 KD now for the Viper. And Viper looking closer and closer to clicking up the Castle Age as well. Back on the woodline too. MBL will have more archers than Viper if he continues to produce out of his 2 ranges. But, I mean, Viper's probably going to continue to produce out of his ranges as well. And in a moment, Viper's going to be up. I think MBL has one more chance in this game. Because he's stuck in feudal, he's going to be producing this army. And if he clears this soon, which it looks like he will then move forward to Viper's base. Forcing Viper into defensive towers, forcing Viper into some level of reaction. Like, Viper not towering at all over here could be a problem for him. And speaking of, Viper's going to see MBL coming forward with villagers again. Oh, and Viper was actually over here, by the way. It looks like he killed a villager. That was sneaky. And these villagers have been moving a lot in their lives. They have been moving... What? All time they've been moving 75%, 80% of the time? Are these the same vills as before? I thought it was going to be 50-50. Yeah, there's been a lot of economy moving around for MBL. How is Harry-Yo? Great series. Some good games. I don't want to spoil, but yeah, they were definitely good games. Very different series. Like, this series here has been a little messy and crazy. I think the level was much higher in the first semifinal. But MBL forces you to play on his level. He forces you to play his type of game, which can lead to this scrappiness, right? That's what he wanted today. He wanted it to be super scrappy. By the way, Viper getting cav armor right now for a civ that can't make knights. Are we going to see an elephant from him? There's a TC for the Viper on his stone. There's a siege workshop for the Viper. Don't think elephant is a great long term. But, I mean, one elephant might be helpful here. Viper's going to try and rush down this tower now. He'll see, though, that MBL's got those archers, so he's going to just garrison up again. Even just temporarily attacking with villagers here is nice, because they really do a lot of damage versus the tower foundations. A little late from Viper there to pull this one back. No way. Oh, he saves her. So Viper still hasn't lost a vill. And MBL is... it's dropping more towers next to this. And Viper's going to add siege in a second. The tower goes down, so Viper can take this wood again. So I think, fortunately for MBL, the repair bug isn't in effect on the patch they're using. The current patch, the siege repairs instantly. So I don't think that's the case. And Viper's base is wide open, and he's also playing as the Bengalis. So, I mean, if MBL could hold this position, maybe he'll do something. I think Viper's just going to castle it, though. Yeah, Viper's just like, I'm sick of this. And this is way faster for me. He just drops a castle here. So this castle will actually shoot down those towers. That's really smart. And then he can make Rathas. And man, his eco is actually flowing pretty nicely considering the awkwardness of where he's taking the resources. MBL, I think if it goes to the next game, I mean, it will regardless, right? He's just kind of playing like this is over if he doesn't win this. Hey, the game one was so good for him. And now it's just like, with the Mayans of all civilizations, he didn't play anywhere close to standard. Maybe being too creative for his own good. Viper's castle go up. The towers get shot down. Siege is still looking for archers. Siege, uh-oh. Just gonna miss out on killing the archers there. Good play from MBL to get away. And now Viper has a unit that can kind of be used similar to a knight. So there's a melee mode. So you can use it underneath the tower here. And there is also a range mode. The weakness of the unit is skirmishers, regardless of the mode it's in. And MBL unable to realize the situation. And he's going to have those villas be exposed. They will eventually die. Viper, 2 TCs. Needs a new woodline right now. It's actually stressing me out he doesn't have one. And MBL is going to go crossbowman over to this area to try and save these villas. These games don't prep for Hera at all, lol. Yeah, I think... Who? No spoilers! Yeah, these games don't prep for Hera, yo, and how they play those games. It's just completely different. And the winner of the first one, that first semifinal, who we don't know, they're not going to be able to gather anything from this either, right? Like, they'll be like, oh, well, if I go 2 villager gate on bad lumber camp, then add 2 more villagers forward after sending those 4 villagers home. You know, if I do this thing that I'm never going to do in the first place, then I kind of know how they adjust to it. But these are just all games. It's adaptation, adjusting on the fly. There's no real meta to it. Anyways, counterattack. MBL still wide open. I'm sure he's thinking about a town center eventually, but he's looking to do damage all the time. Look at all the blue that is surrounding the Viper right now. And he's still going to be like, hello. Hey-oh. Kill some vills. Not bad. Viper still needs a better woodline. And he's getting rocked there on that TC. MBL is denying his long-term wood control. And Beal's got 22 crossbows. This is what you were expecting with Mayans. You just didn't think we would get here in this way. Oh, God. If there's one thing MBL is better at than Viper, I think it is Mangonel Micro. MBL is insane at it. But, oh, God, the counterattacks. Hello? Oh, he switched it to the other mode? Okay. Here we go. Sniping those crossbows now. Oh, town center for Viper getting denied. MBL has a chance. He has more population. He's got a siege push on the side. He will now lose his crossbows as Viper's making scouts. I guess he's going to get light cav. Bengalis do... I think they do a bonus against skirms with their light cav now. But I'm saying there's a chance, guys. There's actually a chance. Viper picking Bengalis, which was his last civilization, was him saying, let's make life interesting here. There's no pressure on me. Even if I lose this game, there's less pressure on me because I still have my better civilizations remaining. Goodbye, Ratha. Mangonel Micro over here. MBL still has towers up. Viper trying to get shots to kill MBL. He does get the shots. MBL, though, will still remain with 1 Mangonel and a couple towers. But also, MBL killed the Mangonel there from Viper. There's actually a chance. The crossbow number's still insane for MBL. I think we have officially reached the point where you're at the WTF do I do with Bengalis point in the game. Your unique unit kind of dies to crossbowmen. And it definitely dies to skirms. And while it can be used as a knight, it's not really that good as a knight. And Viper is falling apart, guys. It's not that bad, right? He's going to get +2 armor. I still think he's ahead, but look at MBL's point of view. Where do you think he'll go next? He's got a nice little push here. I could see MBL coming forward with castle on this area. Viper has to be so careful right now. Yeah, elephants in late game would be awesome, but it's just so expensive. Even on Arena, you don't see that when it's a full boom game. 110 pop for MBL, guys. So now you start to believe in the messiness a little bit. Now you're like, okay, we could see why MBL does this. Because it's just not a normal game. Okay, Lycav with +2 armor and the Ratha. MBL with the attack round. Viper dodging back. Viper will need to repair this TC with more than this. No ballistics for MBL. Kind of looked like he had ballistics there, but he doesn't have it. MBL dodges nicely. Good dodge from Viper, though, as he just wants the siege, and he'll get that one. And unable to get that one. Still think there's a very good chance that there will be a castle drop on Viper's face soon. And Viper still doesn't have army. MBL can do this. MBL can do this. Great micro from him. Still continues to dodge nicely here. Viper will lose this TC in a second. MBL should send the boys and drop a castle here. You just need army support. These crossbows, MBL. Go, 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 go. Viper's gonna... Is he gonna address this again, or is he gonna go raid? He's gonna drop a town center in the middle of the map. There's no resources there except wood. Okay, MBL's sending his army to the left now. The tower will eventually go down, but I think MBL could keep it up. And Viper still delaying, still hoping for siege shots. I think he needs to delete the mining camp. Oh boy, big shot on the crossbows. Mining camp's kind of hurting him when he tries to path, because there's only one area he's going to pass through there. This is like... this is old Arabia. I'm loving this. Because games used to be so much messier due to the lack of... well, lack of level, but also the lack of quality of life features for the game. It was just a harder game to play back then. Back in the day, Viper with a big shot. He dodges. Oh, massive shot. While also counterattacking on MBL, and MBL doesn't realize. Oh, jeez. It's all falling apart now for, well, one Norwegian, and the other one's kind of loving life again. Crossbow army here, though, from MBL, and I don't think Viper knows about this. And now he has to run away with 20 or so vills. MBL does now notice this attack. He is 30 villagers behind, but he has enough stone for a castle. And no! Oh, man. You got to go forward with it, right? But maybe he doesn't believe he can at this point. I think you could still make the argument that the Mayans are the better late game civ because of the awkwardness of the Megalis. So maybe that's why he's placing this castle. But I mean, this castle is close to the edge of the map in your own base. I think the plan for him was if he held control as he eats a shot over here, that he would end up placing that forward. And he realized it just wasn't going to happen. It'd be a throw and a half if he were to run villagers forward. Big shots from Viper. He'll happily just run away there. The crossbowman will die. Viper's going to finally put an end to this tower with this castle. And in a messy series, where we still have to question now, what will Viper do civ-wise? Sorry, not civ-wise, unit-wise in this particular game. We do know that MBL really needs this one. You go down 3-1 here. You don't have Aztecs. You don't have Mayans. You still have Vikings. You still have some other civs. It's just all of his later picks, you know? And Viper still has pick number 1 and pick number 2 available. But even with this defensive castle, you're still going to get raided to death. Your base is wide open. Viper should go all-in castle, I think. Actually, or you just go imp. I mean, you could kind of do either. There's a lot he could do. I think straight Lightcap could do it at this point. MBL's gold's very forward. This would have maybe been a better position for a castle, but again, he was unsure on if he could possibly get there. And you see, it just continues to be a very messy, open game. No walling. Putting all their APM into the unit production. How many TCs does Viper have? He's got 4. So remember, when he gets imp, he's going to get +2 villagers from each TC. So if he booms up to like 150 vills and then goes imp, he's going to have too many villagers maybe. I'd like to see maybe relics get collected now. I think it's that stage of the game for the Viper. Viper's vision shows him where those relics are and the extra golds. He got a random mango just scouting on the left side. MBL, big crossbow army in the middle. And he's still going to take good trades. But Light Cav don't cost food. And there's Rathas behind. That's actually a really nice combination there for Viper. Yeah, you can get the unique tech with the Bengalis. So your villagers take up less pop space. Would probably be needed here for Viper. But it is pretty pricey. I think that's my Hayana, I think. And it's over 1,000 resources. MBL, low on army numbers, low on eco. He is imping. Again, a question of what are you going to do without gold? What are you going to do if you lose your whole army before you make it to the Imperial Age? And he's got to be feeling pretty defeated now. It would take a real crazy comeback and turnaround in terms of style for MBL to do this against the Viper here. Yeah, same exact imp times. It's a fair point. And Viper's eco is flying. 55 on food, 38 on gold. We might see elite battle elephants, actually. If he thinks the game is that over, and I think it is, he could just go elephants here. But the GG's called. MBL made it as messy as possible. Wasn't able to break the snake. And Viper has won 3 straight. And to repeat myself for the 5th or 6th time, Viper now has his best civilizations available, if he even wants to use them. He might just want to finish this off, get some rest, be able to, enjoy a little bit more of his evening before the final tomorrow. And with that, he could just go for Aztecs and Mayans. Or if you want to hide something for the eventual final, you could maybe go for a different type of pick. Felt like MBL really needed it, but I've seen crazier things before. And MBL has been a part of reverse sweeps before. Notably, the one at Red Bull 5, where he was down 2-0 and then came back and won 3-2 against Hera in that freaking castle that Red Bull took us to. So it's doable against the biggest of names. But yeah, Viper just did a really good job. Like, the idea of MBL to play messy was there, but sometimes when you play messy, you go overboard with it. And I felt it was overboard. If you think of Mayans, you want cheap archers, you want cheap walls. He had no walls, and he didn't really play around archers. So the early game was fine, but I feel like the follow-up didn't even have to be a forward barracks and a tower. I think he could have just gone archers from home. And then Bengalis go into skirms. And then Mayans go eagles. And then Bengalis don't have knights. That's at least the way I see it. I know the game doesn't play out that simple, though. Viper playing as the Tatars here. So still keeping Aztecs, still keeping Mayans in his back pocket. And then MBL's gone for the Khmer game number 5. Let's see if MBL can bring it back. The Khmer, they have the ability to make it messy because their farms are fantastic. But then you also have the ability to skip some steps. So you do not need the barracks before an Archer Ranger is stable. And that alone right there is a 30 to 60 second window that you can utilize in a game. That combined with the Scorpions, think of MBL's style. Siege defense or siege offense, the Scorpion's going to be useful in either. And then typically not, I guess he does wall a lot, but there are times like the previous game where it's very messy and open. And if that's the case, I think the Khmer could thrive. For the Viper, maps looking pretty tasty for the main gold. The wall potential is absolutely there for him. Long-term stone and gold access will be an issue. For MBL, map looks a little bit more difficult to lock down, because Viper's got some extra wood to wall with. This wood line, I think those just end up being helpful when you're walling towards the edge of the map. But we'll see if that even happens here. Obviously, we'll likely see some aggression. But back gold will be nice for MBL. He's not going to complain about that. Similar to Viper, he's got 2 golds forward and exposed later on. And those are kind of in the same area of the map. All this is going to be hugely important in Castle Age if it gets there. Did Viper lame sheep? I don't think so. He didn't leave his base yet. What he did do, though, was he went primarily to food at the start. which I think is something that even high-level players should do more frequently these days. Everyone always thinks 6 on food, get your sheep. But actually, let me back up one step further. It used to be 6 on sheep, 3 to 4 on wood, houses, boar, mill. But now we're even seeing players bring their boars in right away because the food's faster, or elephants, I guess. Or because it could be stolen, right? And we're seeing the barracks delayed, the mill delayed, all this stuff. If you're going to be going scouts or archers, you genuinely don't need to have 3 on wood as early. Because all your food to go up to the next stage is going to be underneath the TC. And then from this point, you pretty much just need your second building, which off a scout build would be a mill. But as I've said before, I think the King of the Desert version and just all the food that's there has definitely added to how players play and utilize their food. So they've kind of switched it up a bit. MBL, 4 on wood. And MBL is going to bring in his elephant. I really have no signs of strategy from MBL, but I am a little surprised he's got 4 on wood. Because if anything, you'd have 1 or 2. Because again, you don't need the barracks if you're going to be going stable or archer range. So this might be a surprise tactic from MBL where he wants to use an early barracks in some way because Viper wouldn't expect it. Viper wants to maybe compete with the uptime here from the opponent. What on earth is this? I think it's achievable too. But if you would have gone to wood early, it wouldn't work out at this population. Actually, no, he's still going to go 19 pop, right? Maybe he'll try and drop off, and he's going to be... No, he adds the Vil. Okay. It's still fine. At the end, it doesn't really make much of a difference. MBL's added a farm in Dark Age when he has lots of goats. That's interesting. And they'll be up at the same time with currently the same build order, though we don't know what exactly they'll be building up towards. Yeah, Russell, I agree with you. Watching MBL play is just a breath of fresh air. It's tricky for me in a tournament semifinal because optimization is important. And there are times where, and last game's a good example, you just look at what he's doing and you're thinking, why, right? But the chaos is a factor that is important and it's really fun to watch too. So I always have to balance out. This isn't that good for MBL, but this could work because of the chaos. It's really hard for me as a caster to get that balance right. Someone says, I'm personally a fan of the 6 on food, 3 on wood. Next build gets killed by board, then get loom at 15 pop because Hal's build order. Why is that? Why was that so relatable to me? Why did I understand that so much? Oh, wait, we have a forward from MBL. Okay, here he goes again, people. Viper's going to be looking for him. And Viper scouted very late. MBL found Viper. He doesn't know Viper's on this wood line. This is not something the Khmer normally do. Viper just hoping to go for a pretty clean scout build here. And the fact that Viper hasn't been in MBL's base might confuse him. If you think about it too, you're never really expecting to see a barracks from the Khmer anyways. So even if he strolls in here, he's just going to be looking for the stable. Normally what you have is you have a player who's seen this or is in MBL's base and he's like, huh, I don't see anything. Then he looks. He has had no prep time for this. Viper has no clue. He's going to see the scout, the spearman, and the villagers all at once right now. This could be really effective from MBL as he's going to wall Viper in. Viper's going to have to lead a lumber camp for the second straight game, I think. Uh-oh. You got to be careful, MBL, because this could actually be... Oh, God. Oh, MBL's in his house. I was going to say you could trap yourself. Well, now what are the villagers going to do? Viper does have more idle time. And you can see now that MBL's trying to make a run for it. Sorry, guys. Very hard to cast this, but Viper has no wood. MBL might lose another villager, though. Oh, God. You tried to quick wall at the wrong guy's base, I guess, here. Another house for Viper as he runs away. And in the end, I think Viper will be happy with that. As long as he can just keep MBL from running in again, he'll be happy. And okay, now these villagers are trapped. Well, that was awkward. The funny thing is it's another chaotic game. Viper wanted a clean game. He's not going to get it. And Viper doesn't know where MBL is. I think he's going to run down here. He's just missed him. MBL's right here, clear as day. If you were to scout early, Viper, instead of pushing on all your resources, you little greedy snake. The skirmisher are chipping away at the vills. Viper doesn't have another lumber camp yet. And he knows there's going to be a tower there because he can see the villagers are building. And God, this looks annoying, but MBL is actually sending Spearman home because he thinks Viper's going there. Viper doesn't know where you are, bro. Viper has no clue where you are. Viper's waiting here. And MBL can't see that, interestingly enough. He could have seen the scouts go there, but is Viper intentionally just waiting? Look at him lurking in the darkness. Viper will have 5 scouts. Viper goes to another wood line. MBL's eco looking fairly decent at home. This is the full-on trash rush. I like this so much more than the previous game. This actually has... It could add some long-term value to if you're MBL. Because you could, in theory, have a lot more farming eco. Your opponent, they're going to have to go something like skirmishers, maybe, to pick off the spearmen. And then you can just go into your own scouts. I think the thing MBL needs to consider here, though, is that these villagers are very exposed. And I don't think you need to make too many spearmen. You're at 6 already, MBL. You can probably chill there. Viper has dropped some walls in a way where MBL can't really damage him. And skirms and spearmen, not something you want to dive underneath TC fire with. So there goes Viper. And Viper still has no clue where MBL is. What a noob. Finally, you guys can say, hey, at least I scout my opponent by the 15th minute. I mean, it makes sense, right? He was greedy, and then he reacted to the rush, and he did really well with that. And here go the scouts, and the scouts are going to run right past. And he's like, this is a little too good to be true. And he runs through. Viper makes a mistake here. TC rocks him. He's going to get hit again as well. Those are some weak scouts right there. MBL might end up being okay. Viper could end up being okay as well, but keep in mind, this gold he's going to take is exposed. I'm surprised that Viper didn't choose to just pass there. He's got 7 scouts, but 138 HP on those scouts. Oh, man, they're so weak. I think you take the spearman there, though. You're on the hill. Now, in the end, you still only lose 1 unit. Trash rush on the front. Again, it's going to add up. Super awkward to micro. Meanwhile, over here, Viper's still trying to kill Vils. There's the stable for MBL. We call this the Fable because it's where a farm should be, but a stable's there instead. If you look up the word Fable, you'll see synonym. MBL's farm, or MBL's stable in game 5 of King of the Desert 5. We might see a lot of fuel age here. Viper's still massing his own skirms, hoping to kill MBL's spearman. He might loop back home with his scouts right now. Feels like the natural play. It's just been such an MBL game, man. As Viper just says, fine, I'll take this gold. But MBL is actually done. He has the right flow to this type of buildup. You go into the forward with trash units. You force your opponent into skirms because you have so many freaking spears. And then you show up with scouts. This could work out for him. I know it looks crazy, but it absolutely could. And you have to try and use your scouts and your skirms against Viper's skirms. But, oh, what a rush. And there's more scouts on the way. The Khmer farms are extremely efficient. And MBL's actually getting the job done here. Think about all the idle time the villagers have had in Viper's economy. And good luck microing when your opponent just has a big random blob of units. It's so difficult to get this right. Viper, in the end, I suppose, is going to hold against this, but he's still not completely walled. He's still exposed. If you look at MBL's point of view, doesn't see the golden come. Whoa. That's interesting. Because he did see these Vills were building a mining camp here, so he might still focus there. Viper with just 4 scouts. Castle Age should be better for MBL, though. Look at the 21 farms go to town. I want to look at res collected, too. Better for MBL. Viper's going to drop a tower here. Viper has... He just caught a glimpse of those scouts. And, oh, man, what a great wall here. I think he'd be okay anyways, because he has the spear, but that's really good heads-up play. And his scouts are going to go forward. What? 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 The guy's taking ostrich in the middle of the map right now. What in the world? And there was a hole? What? Oh, no, they probably ran around this way. Okay. Scouts made it through. MBL's going to reach Castle Age faster because he's got the better balance. Army from Viper arrives. And I'm telling you, man, MBL's getting to him. He might not have won the previous game, but he's wearing Viper down mentally. Viper can't deal with the chaos for long enough, guys. All right? We're all getting old, right? And you could tell Viper's just like, ah, man. And then you get frustrated. You're like, I'm dying to this random awkward fable strat. And suddenly it's 3-2. And suddenly MBL, maybe gets a bit of a lead in game 6. And then all of a sudden we're in a game 7, maybe. I don't know. Viper hasn't lost yet. I'm obviously possibly overreacting. And we have more scouts here from MBL. You won't be able to meet these scouts up with the others, though. And it's Viper's turn to make Spearman now. And that's going to be a villager that will desert the farm just to go back to it later. And the ostrich villagers are somehow wandering home. Where is this guy going? What? That can't be intentional, right? That's not intentional. Right? MBL's going to go light cav and probably siege forward. I think he should continue to pressure. Oh, there's a lion there. That's kind of inconvenient. What's Viper's army comp? Camels? Camels would make sense. MBL's Vills are still here, by the way. Viper might have forgotten about them. Okay, MBL and Castle Age. Light cav upgrade on the way. Doing a loop-de-loop here. This has really prevented the full walls from Viper. This villager now is just going to go mine that stone. Actually works out. Viper could use some stone. The Spearman's checking to see what's going on over here. Sees the siege workshop. Sees the scouts as well. MBL now cancels that idea because Viper spotted it. And Viper's going to expect an all-in still, but he maybe feels like it's not going to be siege anymore. All right. MBL, can you please make houses? I swear, I keep seeing this blink. He's going to get housed again. Just use your forward villagers to make houses, man. Come on. Don't get pop capped yet again. Scout from Vipers over here. I think MBL will drop the town center, and he's going to drop a very good town center on the wood and the gold there. Light cav are still over here for MBL. He hasn't been able to find any real success with them. And there are camels from the Viper, and MBL will see that and back away. Still 2 villagers here that Viper needs to think about. What an interesting game. MBL is housed. I am shocked. But he's collected more resources. When MBL and I teamed this last year, when we did the 2v2 tourney, he said, create the chaos. That's what he said. And then when we won, and I was really proud because I carried the game, he said, right when my ego was at its highest, he goes, but T90, who created the chaos? I was like, you did, MBL. You did. And he's like, that's right. And he absolutely did. Chaos catches up with MBL. He's going to lose that Vill. But it's fine. He's not going to be housed anytime soon then. It's all part of his plan. He'll have a pretty nice Vill count anyways. That's good for Viper, though, because if you can clear up this tower and wall this up, then suddenly you can expand your economy in the back. MBL has a lot of monks in queue. He's got 5 monks in queue right now. Definitely to pressure the situation, right? Still just a tower going down there. Viper hears the Wololo. And then we see another TC for MBL. Yeah, MBL is going to have a great economy. I think instead of the second monastery, though, I would maybe like to see pikemen. Maybe not. I guess if you had the barracks from home, you add a second one, and then you have 2 barracks to produce. But this one's all separated from the group. Lycav Monk is fine. Yeah, that tourney was fun. It was a good time. I had good experience. It was fun. The main problem for us was we kind of lost motivation to play because we beat Kapoch and Nikov. And we beat them like 3-2, I think. And everyone else in the group was probably going to lose to them or struggle with them, right? Which would have been amazing for our standings because we beat them. And after we beat Kapoch and Nikov, they dropped out of the tourney. So everyone got a 5-0 result versus the team we had actually beaten. So MBL and I were like, well, that kind of sucks. Still, we got the win, right? Yeah, it's also where we got attacked by penguins, indeed. Viper trying to get a kill there. And gets the kill. Looks like MBL kind of had the quick wall down. So unfortunate there, but 60 villagers versus 56. Another game that will go late in this series. T90, if you played 100 games versus MBL, how many would you win? I've played probably 30, and I haven't won yet. So, not many. I'll let you know when I win one, what the average is. I've been super close. I've taken games close to the 2-hour mark against him, but I just... So you know how in this series, right? Like MBL, he falls behind by not dying, and then he just takes it late. You know that's been the whole theme. Well, the problem is I can't get as ahead as Viper's getting ahead. And that's like a lot of players can't get as ahead as Viper's gotten ahead. And so then it's like an even game, and then the dude's just an animal. And this is an animal that is building up right now, by the way. Building up for a kill. But Viper's going to go for the monks and the Lycav on the hill. We're just popping. Oh, the freaking monks. That was, what, 6 monks down? A great trade for Viper. Because if those monks are here, when this fight's about to begin, all those camels are out of the picture. Dang, that was crazy. I mean, I still think Viper might need to worry about the composition that's coming forward. We have Khmer Scorpions. We've got Pikemen and Viper. Hurt the Viper. He doesn't have camels anymore. You have to imagine he was looking at something else in that moment, but I didn't see it. And maybe he thought he had clicked his units back, and it just didn't happen for him. But Cav Archer Mass is starting for the Viper. The Scorpion Pike combination into a forward castle would be such an MBL thing here. Now, MBL has to react here. He does react nicely there with the quick walls. And Viper, probably microing the units that didn't find kills there, lost some more units on the front. This is getting really dangerous for the Viper. And the Snake is going to need to have a Mangonel here soon for this. And it's on the way. Oh, man. MBL, you're down. All right? You're down in the series. Just go for the forward castle, man. Just do it. You got this. I believe in you. Don't go for the safe castle on the hill. Actually, I take it back. You have to go for the safe castle now. If he had the stone a moment ago, he could have done it. Yeah, you kind of got to go for the safe one. Viper's still running around here. Yep, still is. Lycav go in for the Scorps. And, well, Scorps are still finding really good value. It's still amazing, but now there's siege for Viper. 85 villagers for Viper. What a crazy game. And we've got 87 for MBL. I still want to look at the economy, and MBL still collected more. Actually hasn't collected as much food, which is pretty crazy because Khmer should be collecting more food. It shows you how good Viper's macro has been. Oh, geez. Oh, man. The Scorpions. The Scorpions. There's the castle. MBL, don't lose the castle. Okay. You got to bring more vills than that there, buddy. Oh, God. Oh, geez. This castle's not going up, right? Oh, God. I mean, like 3 minutes ago, I said it probably wasn't a good idea anymore, and he heard me. He wanted to try it anyways, and he's going to drop it further back, and even this could be denied. You can use that many Scorpions versus a Mangonel with this much range, but it's not something you want to do. And you can tell Viper's trying to get it close. Bop. Not bad. Not bad for MBL in the end. He will get the castle up. He kills a lot of Cav Archers. And he holds a position in front of the golds. Remember, Viper's also doing the same with his castle, though. I'll tell you my concern, though, for MBL. He spent all his food on pikes. He doesn't have the resources for Imp. He's still making pikes. He's still making Scorpions like he wants to push this position. But him not knowing that Viper has a castle has really screwed him up now. Because now Viper could just run circles around him with Cav Archers, and the Scorpions have to chase. You could tell MBL said, oh god, I need to cancel everything and get up to Imp. And he is going to eventually click up. Now, he'll have a second castle in this middle area. What an important area. As Viper goes for more TCs down here. So, actually, I think it's kind of okay to just bring the Scorpions home for now. You do have TCs in a lot of different areas. Viper's going to pick away at different spots. What'll be interesting is if Viper's going to go light cav, and with enough light cav to potentially snipe Trebs. Or Scorpions, of course. And as you can see, Scorpions are rolling back. MBL's taking losses. And he's dealing with this as well. Viper's just picking him apart. This has been a great game, though. The previous game was very disappointing because we won a really competitive series. What MBL has done here has been fantastic. And it's still very close. And with this hill, has the potential to still win. Viper didn't know about that castle till now. He's probably like, huh? Eco KD, though, 20-1. Viper lost that one villager at the start of the game. It's insane to me how he's able to manage the chaotic situations that MBL has thrown his way. Makes it look so easy. And Tatar Cav Archers are no joke. The Keshiks Viper's mixing in is no joke. Viper will still only have one castle for his Trebs, though. And he'll have one Treb out before MBL. It might end up being like 2-2 on Trebs because one castle can produce 2 Trebs for Viper, and then by then MBL has produced one from each. But this is the type of game Viper would have wanted when he lost the first one with the Huns. Just Cav Archers, light Cav. Lots of mobility. And oh boy, MBL, the Scorpion's still so slow. And Viper just picks a different spot every time. Viper does reach Imp. He does start with the Treb. I think you go for this castle first, not that it really matters. We see Bracer for Viper, so his Cav Archers will get even stronger. Still, the Scorpion's unable to get anywhere close. And MBL is now 20 vills behind. It's interesting to me that Viper's not producing any Keshiks anymore. Oh, whoa, look at this micro. Look at the runners. Oh, you're attacking me here? No, you're not. No, you're not. You thought you were. You're not anymore. Well, Scorpions are now dying to Cav Archers. That's a bad sign. But yeah, Viper's not producing any Cav here. So he doesn't really feel like he needs the Cav to win the Treb War. Or he's going to realize now that MBL's up that he can add the Cav. Because before MBL had pikes, but MBL he sent a lot of his pikemen home. And now I don't think MBL is going to have the pikeman numbers to protect the Trebs. MBL played open. He had an eco lead. And it always felt like this position was going to be the most important thing in the game. And Viper's starting to claw that back from him. Viper's economy is superior. Viper has the 3 relics as well, if that matters to you. This is a really nice castle for the late game. And with the way the series has gone, the fact that we're looking at the 3-time King of the Desert champion here in the yellow, all makes me feel like we are just moments away from Viper moving on to the final tomorrow. And that's going to be a Treb saved, actually. Okay. Now maybe Viper's thinking I need to mass a little bit more in the way of Cav. But this is still just so much damage. Ugh, it must be so frustrating. One mistake from Viper, though, and suddenly all these CA die. And then who knows? MBL's not going to give this up. I personally would have dropped Stables, and I'd be going for the Hussar upgrade if I'm Viper. Sorry for the stretch. I would have not gone for Keshiks because there's no guarantee you're going to win this Trebor just yet. It's likely. But a way to lose the game is to commit to Keshik instead of Hussar. Even Cavalier, maybe. I don't know. I think Viper has faith that he's going to be able to use the Keshiks because he can judge the situation for what it is. And he's got the Imp Armor on his Keshiks now. He's going to have the Imp Armor on his CA now. And MBL in a position he was in the Berber-Lithuanian game where he's just sinking so much into repairs. And Viper attacking some of the trebuchets because he knows the castle's going to go down any moment, and it does. And now he could use his trebs against MBL's trebs, and I think this is the end for MBL. We will not see MBL in the final. It will be Viper versus Hera. And it just felt expected to me based on how good Viper and Hera have been when compared to the competition. I'm not going to talk right now about the first semifinal. I'll find a moment for that at the conclusion of this, but this semifinal was incredibly entertaining. Oh, wait, I just spoiled the... Oh, God, I tried to not spoil by not talking about the first semi. Anyways, it happened. It happened. Viper, despite the really awkward start to this series and losing that game and the pausing and the stress, he just won 4 straight. I think it was expected, but I think MBL should be beyond pleased with how he played in King of the Desert. I'm so sorry that I'm garbage at what I do, guys. But I hope you enjoyed watching anyways. MBL beat Veleza. He beat Sato, who had beaten Leary. He beat some big names in the group stage. Top 4 performance. Losing to Viper, nothing to be ashamed of. And we got to see why MBL is here. It's because so many... Like Vivi, if you watched Viper play Vivi in the quarter, where Viper won 4-0, it never really looked like Vivi had a chance. MBL brought himself into many different instances where he had a chance. Maybe not in the previous game, in game... what was that? 4? But all the other games, he was kind of around, right? We had the Berber-Lithuanian game that went pretty late. This one here ended up going to Imp. I mean, most of them did go to Imp. So GG. Congratulations to the Viper. And since I have already spoiled what happened in the first semi, I'm going to talk about that in the moment because I feel like that's the proper thing to do. The next video people are going to see is going to be the final. So I guess for anyone live, just mute for the time being if you don't want spoilers. But here's the deal. We had 2 very different semifinals. I think we had 2 very different semifinals due to the fact that we had different semifinalists on the losing side, though, right? Like Vinchester, and then, or not Vinchester, sorry. Yo and MBL, they brought different games to the table today. Yo tried to play for the more standard greedy eco approach, but he didn't really look to make it messy. MBL made it super messy today and super awkward. So I am still a little uncertain on how Viper is going to play strategically. Because we know Viper can play clean. We know he can play precise, and we know his builds can be strong. I'm going to say this, though. Based on all the games I've seen and everything that is flowing in my brain right now, my concern for Viper is the greed. There were times where he would put himself at disadvantages to get a bit of an eco lead. And I don't think on Arabia that is necessarily going to work against a player like Hera. Hera played closer to what I know as his Arabia peak today than Viper did. But how much of that is the fact that Viper couldn't really play in the way he wanted to play due to MBL and possibly some confidence that he had because of MBL. So Viper Hera should be close. It is a best of 9. I will be casting that with Dave, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm sure I'll have plenty to say during the final, so I'll kind of cut it off there. I will also say thanks again so much to the host Memb and everyone who's played a part in this awesome tourney, man. The games have been super good. And of course, congratulations MBL for top 4. Good stuff, my man. 50,000 resources collected. I should probably touch on that. And then you have a 2-to-1 KD for the Viper, who's just able to swat MBL away from him like a pesky fly that keeps flying around the room. You know those flies that hang around until you eventually just smack them? Get him out of the picture? Yeah, that's basically what Viper was doing to MBL here. MBL was so freaking pesky, though. I loved this build. I thought this build was really good. Honestly, if Pikeman came in a little faster, if the Scorpions had a better position, he probably could deny Viper's castle. But the timing's got to be right. Hard to find those timings against the Snake.